Hey guys, I wanted to give you a disclaimer for this episode and episodes to come. Not everyone's going to say exactly what you want to hear. Not everyone's going to have that exact verse or quote that you need to motivate yourself. You won't agree with everything I or any guest on the show says. I just want to say, we're not sorry. Enjoy yourself and stop taking life and podcasts so seriously. It'll make life a lot easier for you. These conversations aren't published to defame, hurt, or mislead anyone. We're here for an entertaining and educational time under God Almighty. And that's all. All right, enjoy the show. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
Not much.
How are you? It's
Not
nice
much.
to meet you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, literally, guys, this is our first time meeting each other. So if
Yeah.
you see the bromance, don't worry about it. Don't ask any.
Yeah, we've been texting over Instagram for a while now. And we finally started getting the idea, and he was like, "Hey, man, you want to be on the podcast?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I want to be on the podcast and tell my story and go deeper into my life and maybe my story, and sharing my story will be able to help some people out and be able to help them move forward in the succession of their lives."
You're kind of an enigma, though.
An enigma.
Yeah, I gotta ask you what you're on social media for.
So as far as my social media, I'm trying to find a branding. I'm trying to find a niche, and so as of right now with my social media, I'm kind of all over the place. I'm doing lip sync videos. I'm doing trending videos. I'm doing, videos that get the millions of views. I'm trying to recreate those. I'm doing just shots of me talking in the bathroom. I'm doing shots of me eating food, just talking normally with no captions. I'm doing this and that. Really, I'm just trying to learn the algorithm and build my platform, because eventually what my goal is, and this is what I'm in the process of doing, is I'm in the process of writing my first book. And you read the first chapter, which was A Search for Meaning. It's on my WordPress.
Oh, so you just have that IP out for free?
Yeah, that's all out for free, and that's just something I started when I actually got out of prison. I started my WordPress.
Okay.
And that's when I found out that I had a gift at writing. I have a way with words, and so when I first started, I would write, and I'd post it, and I'd get comments of people that are published authors, that are directors, that were people that were university teachers, stuff like that. And they would comment and they'd say, "Hey, you really have a gift. You really need to hone in on this. And you need to shape this about you. So, and practice it and go further in." And so that was 2017, so I started, but I would only write once every month or once every few months. And then a few months would go by, life would happen.
Yeah.
And I kind of would just put it on the back burner. But up until the last year and a half is when I really started to, okay, this is the path that I feel that I'm called to do. I'm feeling called to, because it's always in the back of your head.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is
it's whispering to you.
when you know that you have a gift and a calling, your calling is going to be in the back of your mind all the time. It's going to be that little tick that's it's always going to be in that remembrance. It's hey,
get this
and
done.
It's just and there's a lot of people they have a calling, they have a gift, but they don't ever hone in on it, because it's just life. You got work, you got school, you got kids, you got hobbies, you got things that just bring life that makes life.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that but to pursue something like that, you really have to lean into God. You have to lean in, and that's what they call faith. You have to have faith to be able to take that step off the cliff and hope that you're just going to walk on air.
I'm not trying to hold on. All right. I'm not trying to walk off a cliff, but before we get into all that good stuff, we have to tell people exactly who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
We know that you've been to jail. We know that you're a writer, but we don't know your name.
So my name's Gary West, and I go on all socials by R Gary West, and you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and I just started my YouTube account. So I'm on all 4 platforms under the same handle, R Gary West. But yes, my name is Gary West. So it's nice to meet all of you guys, and I'm glad to be here. And
I normally forget to do it. My bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah. What would you say, or when would you say you found who Gary West was? Where did that start?
So, the thing is like, where do I go with this, or where do I start with this?
Wherever you want. Yeah, literally wherever
So my
you
name
want.
is obviously Gary West. I'm the third. There's
Okay.
two more of me running around here.
Yeah.
I got my grandfather and I got my dad, and then I'm the third. And so my family, my middle name's Dean, and so my family goes by my nickname Deanie. So I have Deanie as one of my names.
Yeah.
Gary West obviously is from like school, just normal life. Hey, I'm Gary. And then my friends call me Dean.
Mm-hmm.
And then just anybody that's just acquaintances is just Gary West. So like I have a couple different names that I kind of go by. And but yeah, that's me. That's my name. And but with the question of being, when did I find out who Gary West was? And so when you ask that question,
it just seems like you're like, I will say, like, you on social media versus meeting you like literally face to face, like you're a lot more at peace than you seem online. You know what I mean? So I just want to know, like, how'd you get there?
Well, so like, I mean, obviously, production,
Yeah.
And that's where I'm getting.
Shout out to Matt, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for letting us use the camera, brother. And when I found social media, I was always the behind the scenes. I was the guy that took the picture like of the feet at the beach, or just pictures of where I was at. But as I grew in confidence, I had to step out. And the more videos that I started, each video that I put out, I was getting more and more comfortable with showing my face.
Yeah.
Being comfortable with my own image, being comfortable in my own skin. Because for the furthest and longest time, man, I was always like, I would look at the camera, I would look at a picture of myself, and I would be like, oh, and everybody does it. They're like, oh, I look terrible. I look disgusting. I'll never show my face on camera again. And so every video that I put out, my confidence grew to be able to be full-fledged, just here's me.
Yeah.
And I get the comments and I get the support, and it grew my confidence more to where I'm getting to the point where I'm just starting making videos with me being in front of the camera and doing other things, And so it had a lot to do with just accepting who I was as a person and accepting my flaws, accepting my past, being real about my past, being authentic about my past, being authentic to who I am as a person, just me.
Yeah.
Because I always used to, like, even through high school into my 20s and my 30s, I always seemed like I was trying to put on a different mask for people.
Since you were
a little
that
kid.
Started in high school, or just
even from childhood, man, right. I would put on a mask. Like, I need to be this certain way so people would either like me, or I need to be this certain way so people would be comfortable around me.
Yeah. I mean, in today's age, it kind of works that way. Like, sometimes that's the part that sucks.
I know, and it's a terrible thing, because living. So there's if you kind of get into the science realm of things, you have an invisible field that kind of radiates outside of your body, kind of like a radio, right?
Yeah, they call that aura nowadays.
Yes, your aura.
Yeah.
And they actually were able to record. They had like a couple thousand people, and they had this, I don't know what it was, machine, whatever. And they were able to actually record the waves coming out of the body from different states of emotion. And it went all the way from like anger all the way up to joy, to happiness, to love. And these are states of vibration that leave your body, right? And these states of vibration can actually affect other people around you. That's why when you walk into a room and you say, man, you can split this
tension with a knife.
Knife. Yeah, because everybody's like, it's radiating off of them. Or you go into a place like a church or something, and it's like, because everybody's so at peace, they're in a state of peaceful vibration.
Yeah.
So, you got the state of peace, and there's like a level. It goes from like, 100 to like 7,000 or something like that, whatever the scale is.
Right.
But towards the top is like joy, peace, and love. But you know what is the greatest vibration to leave the human body?
Love?
Well, that's the second.
Okay.
But the next one up, which is 10,000 times stronger than love, the vibration to leave your body, is the state, being in a state of authenticity.
And who did this study again?
It's,
I thought love was the greatest strength you could have.
So I think what it's called is it's called the scale of resonance. I can't remember.
You see why I wanted my laptop here?
I know. I can't. You could type it in and it would pop up.
Go look it up, please.
Yeah, no, it's the state of vibration. It's the level of state of vibration that leaves your body. There's a scale. I think it's called I can't remember what it is.
Body vibrational level scale. That's what you would search.
But the vibrational scale to leave the human body, and it'll pop up and it'll show you those different states and the scientific proof behind all of it. And these are all scientific. That's all scientific fact.
So when did you find that out? When did you find out?
About a year and a half, 2 years ago is when I started to take baby steps into my confidence and baby steps into being more accepting of myself and baby steps into not caring what people think.
Yeah.
Because, like if I years ago were to post a video online of something and somebody were to make a comment, especially not just somebody random online negatively, I would shut down. But if it was to be somebody like my grandmother or my uncle or somebody in my family or my friends, I would shut down. I'd go sit in my room for 3 days.
Even if it was good?
Even if I thought it was good.
Wow.
Yeah, because, and dude, the craziest thing is like when I first started getting back on social media about 2 months ago, my videos sucked. My videos were terrible. You ever see Post Malone's first video?
No.
Go look up Post Malone's first video. Dude, it's literally like him. He's got a headband on.
Pretty sure there's a Bud Light.
Oh, it was terrible. It was terrible. And he's dancing around. It was completely terrible. But now look at where he's at.
Yeah.
And so it's just like you have to take those steps. It's a level that you have to break through. You have to break through each level. And as you go and go and go, your confidence will grow and grow and grow. And the more accepting of yourself will become greater. And then you can grow in your confidence. But the biggest thing is, and the biggest thing I had to learn, was that you have to not care what the F people think.
Okay.
You have to just not care.
Thanks for not cussing, by the way.
Right.
It just makes way more work.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, well, maybe it can't be too authentic in certain places. Still have to keep it, there's still company. As my grandmother say, there's people here. There's people here.
She seems like a very smart lady.
Yeah, she is.
But like, authenticity is hard to cultivate. It's hard to cultivate online. It's hard to cultivate in a church, but it's hard to cultivate when you look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Did you, or how long did you have that struggle of not being able to be authentic with yourself? You said you had to, hey, I got to be like this for this group, got to be like this for that group. And even in the Bible, it says we should be all things to all people, which is interpreted as, if I'm not mistaken, do the best you can to live peaceably among all men, right?
Yeah.
But that's not easy because sometimes you do want to spaz. Sometimes you do want to tuck your tail and go to sleep and not be disciplined. So how did you find that authenticity enough to just be comfortable with yourself every day? Because your story is like crazy.
Oh, dude, it's crazy. Yeah. I've been through so much trauma, turmoil, pain, hurt, heartache in my life that, just one of the things that I went through out of the dozens would have taken somebody out. They would have never been able to recover. And that's what happens to a lot of people is something happens to them in their life, just one thing, two things that are traumatic, and they never recover. They're never the same.
Yeah.
And so I always had to battle. It's kind of like it's one big war, but I always won every battle towards the end goal, which is winning the war. The war is never over, but it's about battling and winning each battle.
Yeah. Which war are you talking about? There's a couple wars that
the
are
war of the war of life.
Okay.
The war of addiction, the war of acceptance, the war of personality, the war of authenticity, the war of just getting to where you want to go in life, the war of meeting your goals.
Okay.
It's because there's battles that's going to come. And if you win one battle, you win two battles, but you come up against one you can't, and then you fall off. And you're like, I ain't going to do that again. But it's not about how many times you get knocked off. It's about how many times you get back up. How many times you can get back up on your horse and ride.
The war you're talking about seems like lifelong. I don't feel like doing all that. So how do you like? Where does your process go in your mind, or what do you rely on? Do you talk to God? Like, do you? How do you get to the point like, hey, this is an everyday thing I have to do to be gay? You know what I mean?
Um, go deeper into context. Like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah. Well, Bible, from my understanding and what I've read, the Bible talks about how like Jesus paid for our sins.
Absolutely.
The Bible says that the war is already won.
Yeah.
Right. But we still have to go through these battles like you're talking
And
about.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah. The hard part about that is like there are people who are pot committed to God, believe in him deeply, and can't fight for themselves.
Right.
So like when I ask like how do you go through that mental process, where do you go in your mind? Because some people, they cuss at themselves. Some people are like, yo, you can't feel good until you do this.
Right.
But you seem like just pretty chill with like being gay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I got to a point where I had to just accept myself as who I was. But where I go mentally, man, and there's science behind this, is that so our bodies are there was an experiment done.
Yeah.
And it's called the Dr. Emoto water experiment.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna bring this up. Go ahead, go. Yeah.
So this water experiment, not only did he speak to the same source of water, 1, 2, 3, 4, same source of water, and he even in a couple different experiments he spoke to the water, and then other ones he just taped the word to the water, right? And it had rice in it and stuff like that, but the speaking or the writing to the different bottles of water, right? So one bottle he gave love, prayer to, gratitude towards, thankfulness towards. Other ones he did mediocre words like hate or envy or spite, lazy, or so on and so forth. And then what he did is he froze each of those water sources. And when he looked underneath the microscope, what he saw completely blew his mind about the effect of the words that come out of our mouths. And so what it is it's the intent behind the words speaking, or the intent behind the writing, putting it on. Because when he looked underneath the microglass, the words of gratitude and love and peace, what you speak, it literally changed the chemical structure of the water itself.
At a molecular level.
It's
crazy every time I hear it.
Yeah. So he looked under the one that was given love, prayer, peace, and kindness. And when he froze it, the geometric patterns of the water molecules looked like beautiful geometric shapes, like snowflakes. Like you ever see a snowflake up close, and they're beautiful geometric.
Yeah.
It was beautifully geometric shapes, and each one was different for love and gratitude. Each geometric shape was different for each one of those. But you go and you look at the ones that they wrote like Hitler on, or spoke Hitler to, or hate speech to.
Yeah.
You looked under that, and it was all convoluted. It was just one blob of ugliness. It didn't take no shape, didn't take no form. It was just a blob of just gunk. So you go from speaking love and life to speaking words of hate and envy, to one to the other. You get a beautiful geometric structure of just life itself. Yeah. Beautiful.
I think you're calling me a snowflake, dude. No, dude, that's awesome. I want everybody to like go and look that up. I'll even link the description below. But like that's something that if people understood that we're like that water that gets spoken to when someone speaks to us, or we even talk to ourselves, we can literally create a molecular bond that's inseparable from those words.
Yeah.
So it is the intent behind you. Bible even talks about like what flows from your mouth comes from your heart. So if you have that intent, and if you're filling yourself and you're consuming all that good, the good will come out of you, and it'll form those bonds.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you think our bodies are made of 70-75% water. So when you talk about how people wake up and cuss themselves, or they cuss at other people, or they speak negatively towards other people, or their thoughts are negative.
Yeah, there you go. Talk to them.
And we're 75% water. And if you go look at that experiment, that will blow your mind. It will change the way you perceive thinking, the thoughts you have about yourself. So when you get into that state where you're just cussing yourself, or you're mad at yourself, or you're down on yourself, you have to literally capture that thought. I think the Bible says, take every thought into captivity.
No, just stop, bro. What the heck? Yeah.
Take every thought into captivity, into the obedience of God.
Yeah. Amen. I love that.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it kind of goes along with that. It's so you have to, like, and if you want to get into the spiritual side of things,
we'll get there.
Yeah,
Go ahead, finish what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, it's like manifestation is, or whatever it is. It's a CIA. We'll get there, but
tricky word.
CIA declassified document that proves
what
manifestation is real.
What?
Astral projection is real.
Well, I mean, I would argue that you kind of don't need the CIA to tell you that that's real. You can literally watch it happen from a plant.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Or the water experiment.
But absolutely. But it's when you say those words, it puts more authority behind the subject. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That that they've been studying that stuff for years. But we'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
Well,
But yeah, you have to speak positive thoughts to yourself. You have to take those negative thoughts, turn them into positivity, because you have to speak positively to yourself, and it'll put you in a better state of mood.
Yeah.
So,
what did your childhood teach you?
So, in what way?
How did it shape the person you were versus who you are now? And you don't have to get super detailed if you don't want to, but like, I want people to understand how you built who you are now.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely, man. So my childhood. So I grew up in the south end of Columbus, which is a pretty rough area, even back in the 90s, because I was born in 87.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was 5 or 6, I think that was like 90, 91, something like that. But, I had lived with my dad. And at that early stage in life, my dad had me when my dad and my mother had me when they were 18, leaving high school.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even in my my father's yearbook, she wrote, so at leaving school in the yearbook, I can't wait to have our child. They were in love.
Yeah.
But I know. Oh. Broke his heart when they split up.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you why they split up.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother's side, I kind of got duality as who I am as a person. I have my mother's side, my maternal side, and I have my father's side, who is my paternal side. So my mother's side are all drug addicts, felons, thieves, liars, criminals, you name it, negative.
Okay.
The negative part of society that people would deem unfit to just be around.
Yeah.
And then I have my father's side of my family. Very good, upstanding citizens. My father's a retired deputy sheriff. My grandfather's a retired lieutenant colonel from the Marine Corps. My grandfather fought in World War II. My uncle, I call him my uncle, but he's like, and my uncle fought in Vietnam. I had a few cousins fight in Desert Storm. Whoa. So I come from a very militarized, upstanding citizens of society, do good, church going every Sunday people.
Yeah.
And then I have my mother's side. And so at an early age, I would go between the two, and so I'd go over and stay with my mom, and I'd see her doing drugs, bringing in random men in the house. And, I observed all of that.
Hmm.
And so I learned human behavior
early,
like the psychology of human behavior. And that's where my, like, if you want to call it hypervigilance, always in a constant state of awareness of just the micro details of a.
I thought that was just anxiety.
I mean, yeah, I know. It's anxiety too. Well, it turns into anxiety.
Okay.
But yeah, just, and if it's not treated, it can consume you.
Right.
So I grew up seeing all of that. And then what happened with my mother was I'm gonna grab this bottle of water.
Yeah. It seems like you had to walk a tightrope from when you were young. Not only are you fighting like spiritual genetics, right? You're also fighting the need to stand upright for society and everything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what my mom started to do is, because she came from that side of the family, she grew up in that normal mind frame of that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So everything in that lifestyle was okay. It was
Right.
comfortable and it was accepted. Right. So she went to go be a waitress at a strip club. And that's where it started. Waitresses, hostess, whatever.
Right. Okay.
The little lady that stands at the door
I've
takes
never
the
been,
money.
so yeah, I've never been.
If you have been, there's always that little
Please
lady.
stop going if you've been.
Do not go. Don't go. It's not worth it. You'll spend all your money.
That's somebody's daughter.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yes. That's
Dude, I mean, that it even helped me, like, my good friend Brian and someone else at our church that we go to, Brad, they're like, hey man, like, you gotta think of it, that's someone's daughter, dude.
Yeah.
Like, when you're looking at stuff, or
you're sexualizing them.
Yeah. And if you see somebody's like 10-year-old daughter, you're essentially doing that to the grown-up version of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but go ahead.
And the trauma from their lives is what led them there to be in that certain place.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
You're it's almost like, kind of like you're taking advantage of that, but they're taking advantage of you, and it's just
it's a transaction. It's a transaction.
It's the times that I did go, dude, I was never comfortable, because I was never comfortable being that way towards a woman. You know, I just was never, and it came from my mother's story and the way that my mother ended up, because my mother went from the waitress hostess, the little lady that takes the money at the door, gives you the bracelet or whatever and lets you in, and then my father, as soon as she started, you know, he would be begging her on his knees, crying. He would tell me the story. You know, she went to start working at that strip club, and I got on my knees and I was crying. I said, please stop going to that place. Please leave, please quit. She never did. So obviously, one thing led to another over there at the strip club. She went from hostessing and waitressing, not waitressing. She would be a waitress if they served food there, but hostess to, I'm going to dance once or twice a week. Then it led to 4 days or 5 days a week. Then she got into drugs.
Yeah.
Then she got into prostitution, and I saw and observed all this. And so when I would go back and forth, all these different men that she was bringing in, she'd come in. Gary, go upstairs. So I'd have to go upstairs.
Wow.
10, 15 minutes later, guys leaves. And I'm like, at a young age, why are these guys coming in here for 15 minutes and leaving?
Wow.
Well, obviously you can read between the lines.
Yeah.
You know, and so
as a kid, you're like, you kind of just like, what? Like,
but then you start to figure it out.
Yeah.
You know, because you observing things, you figure it out. And so, you know, you go to bed early. She gives you a shot of NyQuil so you can go to sleep, so she can put you to bed. And then, you know, you're upstairs sleeping and you hear a ruckus downstairs, men talking, her laughing, giggling, and drug use is going on, you know, all the drugs, you know, you can think of. And I had observed all that, and I observed the men coming and going. But that's the thing. And that's why I was always so uncomfortable in a strip club looking at these women. I was never comfortable in a club like that, because I saw the way the men came in, treated my mother, and left. They came in,
dudes go home to spaghetti.
Used her and left. Used her, left. Used her, left.
They're not actually trying to take care of her.
No, and I mean, if I'm totally authentically honest with you, man, it's like I have a really bad judgment towards men themselves because of what I saw the men can do in the shadows.
Yeah.
You know, what they're capable of, their mind frame. And so that's why I was always uncomfortable in places like that, because it's like I always saw my mother in that state, and I just know where it leads, where it goes, and you know where it comes from. And so, you know, you got that. And that prostitution, she calls herself what does she call herself? An escort. There's a better term for it.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Escort. And that lasted, she's still doing that to this day. And she's damn near, I think she's in her 50s. I had to cut her off like 5 years ago.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, dude. I had to cut off that whole side of my family just to better my life and to better myself. And I can't have that around my son. No. You know, none of that.
Yeah, dude, he's the sweetest child.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's really awesome.
He's amazing. And he's so sociable.
Yeah.
You know, everybody in this town knows who he is because he's so sociable. The mayor of Groveport, when they have little events, he runs up. He's like, "Hi!" And so the mayor of Groveport one time put a little cap on him, sent him on his way. So everybody knows him. The police know him.
Yeah.
He waves at everybody because my dad's a retired, sheriff.
Yeah.
And his retirement job, he works down at the Moose Lodge. He was president down there.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows a lot of people in Groveport go to the local little watering holes.
Yeah.
So they talk, and my dad has him some of the time, and he's always down there playing his little game. So he gets to introduce himself to all the people. It's a good little place.
Nice hang.
And so he knows everybody in Groveport. Everybody loves him. He's the sweetest kid. And if he did pop in, he would definitely say hi. But going back into my mother's story, dude, she's still doing it to this day. And I was curious, so I looked her up online like a year and a half ago and saw these videos of her, and she's drunk off her butt, just stumbling around, slurring her speech. And the thing about my mother is, my mother could take an aspirin and turn into a demon. It's almost like she has, I don't know the spiritual terms for that, but like, if she took a sip of wine, let alone whiskey, Seagram 7 was her. That was when she turned into a completely different person. Yeah, but alcohol and drugs affect people completely differently. Like, she would be the sweetest if she was sober. Wake up in the morning, she was the sweetest. Can I make you something to eat? How are you? This, but that addiction got a hold of her. I got to go to the store. I got to get this. Start drinking, turn into a completely different person. Destroy the whole house. Hate me. Whoa. Try to get me thrown in jail. Smack me. We went to a bar one time, and we was drinking. And she's like, "I want you to dance with me." I was like, "Okay, well, I'll dance with Mom." I went and danced with my mom. Out there on the dance floor, it's like she switched personalities between the two. So we're dancing, whatever. And I saw this her change in her face, and she put her arms around me and she choked me. And then she switched back and came back and was all loving. And then that change occurred again. And then she smacked me in my face and then switched back. It was like she was obviously
literally teetering between reality.
Yeah, dude. And she never will go to the doctor, but I could swear she's either bipolar, has multiple personality disorder, or something.
Yeah.
That if she were to treat in the right way, maybe she would. But I had to cut her off, man, because of the way that it negatively was affecting me. And she's never met my son, and she never will. And and that's just the reality of it, because I had to cut off my mother's side of my family, because that's what got me into the full-blown addiction, because they were drug dealers. There's some of them that are drug dealers, and obviously the felons and criminals and stuff like that. And so, but where should I go from here? Should I tell my father's side now, or should I go back? Should I go into?
I want to mainly ask, how are you with forgiveness?
Oh, I'm the easiest going person ever. I forgive everybody. I'll forgive somebody 100-fold, man. And I'm always somebody that will give somebody a chance. Time and time and time again. If somebody were to come, "Hey, can I borrow this?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, here, go borrow it." And they don't bring it back, who cares? It's an item. And they come back, "Well, man, I don't know. You didn't bring the last thing back, but here you go."
Yeah.
I'll give the shirt off my back to somebody. I really will. I'm the guy that will roll down my window to the person that's sitting on the corner at the stoplights and give them not 50 cents or $1. I'll give them a $10 bill. Because it's not it's not up.
Sometimes that's not enough for them.
Well, no.
You ever had one complain? I said one, like they're not a person. Sorry, but
$10 isn't enough.
Yeah, that's why I had to start giving people food, or see if I can meet a need there instead of just giving.
Yeah, well, money. Yeah. What you do is you say, "Hey, can I go buy you food, or can I go buy you this?" Instead of, because the sad reality is when I was in full blown addiction, I did the same thing. I was one of those guys. Out there at the corner, at the light, holding the sign, saying, "Hey, will you give me some money?"
Wow.
Yeah.
This is before your son?
Yeah, this is before my son.
Wow. I would have never guessed that. Some people say they're too good to do that, but you were just hungry for what.
Well, it was to feed the. Well, when you're in full blown addiction, when you're at the depths that I was in,
can you explain what that's like? Yeah.
Oh, when you're at the complete depths of hell and addiction, you don't want to eat. You don't care about relationships. You don't care about anybody. You don't care about, you're completely selfish in the fact that the only thing that you're thinking of is yourself and your next fix and how to get the money for the next fix. And obviously 98% of addicts are not, what do they call it? High functioning addicts, where they work a job and then, so no, they're going to go out and they're going to rob, they're going to steal, they're going to do whatever they can to be able to get money to fuel that addiction for the next $20 hit or the next $80 bag.
Yeah.
And if that means going and flying a sign to get $20 so they can go get their fix, because I can guarantee you those people at those stoplights are either dope sick, which is terrible.
Yeah.
You know, dope sickness will make you want to rob a bank. That's how bad it gets. But when I was in that deep, dark state, and when I was in full blown addiction, I would be the guy that I'd go into Walmart and take a TV and run out the back with it. You know, I would go and I'd steal something put from Home Depot, a saw, and walk out the door with it. Take it straight to the pawn shop, get my money, go straight to the dope man, because that's all I was worried about. And then it got to the point where getting high was not fun. Getting high was I was getting to a place where getting high, I just wanted to feel normal. So, because when it gets a hold of you,
you getting back to equilibrium.
Yeah, when it gets a hold of you and you start going through that detox.
Yeah.
And you know you need your fix, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And the thing with opiate addiction, you know, when you're that addicted, and the state of the world of addiction now is fentanyl, which is 10 times worse than what heroin was. So it's even more. But that detox, that withdrawal will last for 2 weeks before you start to wake up and feel better. The first 3 to 4 days, 12 hours after, you're already puking in the toilet. You know, you're got loose stool, puking in the toilet, loose stool, you're sweating, it's the worst anxiety. It's like hot. And you know, what always made me not mad, but it frustrated me is when a lot of like people that have never been in the shoes of an addict, that have never done it, that have never gone through like a full blown withdrawal, nurses, doctors, people that have never done it, you know, upstanding citizens, whoever you want to call them. And they say, well, it's kind of like having a bad cold, like having the flu. No, it's 1,000 times worse.
Dude, what you're explaining right now sounds god awful.
Dude, it's the worst thing you could ever go through. I wouldn't wish a withdrawal from an opiate on my worst enemy.
Yeah. But that's what I wanted to talk about, forgiveness, because at a certain point you had to forgive yourself, you know, for being in that deep of a state. Like, and A, congrats for getting there. But
Thank
B,
you.
like,
thank you, man.
Getting to know you and talking to you long form, like, there's a lot of people who aren't addicted to drugs that are addicted to hating themselves, or addicted to hating their circumstances. So how did you forgive yourself enough to start making better choices?
Well, the one thing is, to touch on what you just said.
Yeah.
I went to a recovery meeting one time with my grandmother.
Yeah.
And we was walking out the door, and there was this lady that stopped her, and my grandmother was like, yeah, my grandson's dealing with, you know, this and this. And she said, oh, honey, everybody's got an addiction. Whether it's cigarettes,
what a wise lady.
Everybody's got an addiction. Cigarettes, beer, vaping, pornography, phones, social media.
Yeah.
The list could go on and on and on and on and on. There's somebody that lives up there.
Oh, okay, cool. I was wondering where I was.
He's watching the football game.
Okay, cool.
But she was like, oh, honey, everybody's got an addiction. And that's the truth.
Yeah.
So what is your addiction? You know, that's
it's even a Kanye West song.
It's
a pretty good song.
But yeah, man, it's like, and you know, the craziest thing is people will judge people that have addictions that they have that are seen out loud, like, you know, drug addiction or alcoholism or anything like that. But the behind the scenes, kept in the shadows, skeletons in the closet addictions, you know, the phone's an addiction. You know, like I said, they want to look down on the people that have, but it's like we all have it. Somebody has an addiction to something.
Looking down at the person.
People can be addicted to working out.
Yeah.
And work out too much.
Yeah.
But retrospectively of what you said before that, you said, how do I forgive myself?
Yeah, how'd you get there? Because there was a certain point I'm assuming, to where you looked in the mirror, you're like, I hate what I see.
I hate myself.
I've been there before. So I wanted to see how you got there and where your mind took you.
So for years, man, like I would wake up and I'd look in the mirror and I'd hate myself because going in, and then we'll probably get there eventually, but going into my father's side, I'd flip flop back and forth, but going into my father's side, I always leaned towards my mother's side for some weird reason. I don't know what it was, a maternal bond, I guess. Who knows? Wanting to see my mom, who knows?
Yeah.
But I always was so ashamed of myself, and this is where it kind of started. The shame and the guilt is my father's side of my family. Like my uncles, all three of them have, I think two of them have master's degrees from Ohio State. One of them has a master's from Northwestern, Ivy League schools.
Great school, yeah.
And, here I am, I'm getting expelled out of school. I was switching schools every 1 to 2 years, and I was getting, they call it bad behavior. But looking back now, it was trauma trying to process outwardly.
Yeah.
And it was a cry for help. For somebody to sit down and say, how can I help you? Like, what's wrong? And have at a younger age.
It was also
looking back
90s.
now, that's what it is.
Yeah. The 90s, I'm pretty sure they weren't as self-aware as we are now. Like, as annoying as it is, everybody screams mental health, but at the same time, it's true. So, like, people from 70s, 80s, 90s, I cut them a lot of slack.
Well, that's what my girl had said one time. She actually said this yesterday or the day before, because my grandmother's the same way. I'll walk in and say, because I have mental health issues, man. And I'm like, Grandma, man, I'm depressed. And she's like, oh, everybody's depressed. I wake up depressed. She ain't depressed. You know what I mean? She's not depressed. She walks around here, plants her garden, and runs down through here and does her day. And I'm like, depression is laying in your bed.
Yeah.
And it takes every bit of strength in you just to lift your leg to get up to go walk to the bathroom. Depression. That's depression.
Debilitating. Yeah.
It's debilitating.
Yeah.
And I've been in that and in and out of that for so long. And, but yeah, just like you said, and like my girl said, because I was telling her about this, and I was like, because I was telling her about, like, how I explained, and like, Grandma, I just need some time, my mental health. And, because she was like, they come from a different generation where they're not so outwardly spoken about their emotions. They just suck it up.
Yeah. Which is, there's some merit to that. Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah, absolutely. There's a balance.
Yeah.
But, moving into today's world, I think that there has to be a big push towards supporting people and helping people with mental health.
Yeah.
Because you, with mental health, being in a state of mental health, like if you have mental health issues, there's a lot of things that you just can't do yourself that you need help with to kind of push you along.
Yeah.
Because like my girl, when I first met her, I was in the deepest, darkest, full-blown state of alcoholism you could be in, and she still stayed with me. But she gave me an ultimatum.
Dude, that's a good woman, dude.
Yeah.
She's pretty awesome for that.
She gave me an ultimatum, and I had been drinking for like 8 months straight at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And it got to the point where I was drinking 2/5 of vodka a day.
Yeah.
And I'd wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning just to stop the shakes and have to drink half a fifth of bottle of vodka just to stop the shakes. And then the other half to try to get to work. And I'm a truck driver.
Oh God, dude, you're cooked. Like, you were literally like, you were deep.
Now listen to me. It got to the point, right? It got to the point where I pulled up one day and I was like, hey, because my boss is cool, man. My boss is super cool.
Yeah.
And he's been cool with over the last few months, because over the last few months, I've been to detox like 2 or 3 times for alcoholism, went right back to it. And so like I'd miss work. I'm like, I'm going to go to detoxing. And he'd be like, all right, just give me a call. And he was just cool, because he was like, he told me one day, he was like, man, I know you're dealing with something. Just call me when you can, and we'll get back to work. And so he's super understanding. And so I pulled up one day to work like 6 a.m. and then I had been drinking all night. I was like, Greg, I don't think I should work today. And he's like, why? He's like, and I had to be real with him. I was like, because I'm drunk. He handed me my check, because I was supposed to get my check. He handed me my check and said, enjoy your day off. Went back home, texted him the next day. I said, hey, man, I just need a few more days. He's like, okay. And so eventually it got to the point where, I kept drinking. And then, I met this girl, and she had came over to my house. We was going to watch a movie or whatever, and she came up to my room, and we were sitting on the couch, and the state that the room, the state of the room that I was in, my bedroom, was absolutely disgusting. Like I had, my little pouches on the floor everywhere. My blankets stunk. I had dirty clothes in the thing. I had liquor bottles everywhere. And I was so, drunk half the time. I would pee into cups because I was so lazy to want to walk downstairs to go into my own bathroom, and I would vomit because I couldn't get to the trash can. I'd vomit in a towel and vomit again on the towel. And, because I would wake up, and that would be like at 5 o'clock in the morning, and the gas station doesn't open until 6, right? So I'm sitting there withdrawn, shaking, pits, I'm on myself, vomiting. So I'm sitting there in a state of, shaking, shivering, cold sweats. And the store doesn't open, the gas station doesn't open until 6 o'clock, where I can go get my liquor to stop the shakes. And bet you believe 5:59, I'm at the door, and they're turning the key, and I'm in the door right there behind them getting my liquor. So I could, and then half the time I couldn't drink the liquor because I was so sick. So I drank the liquor and puke it back up. That's how bad it was.
Wow.
So you could just imagine, and you walk by some of these alcoholics, you can smell it because it comes out of your pores at a certain point.
Seeping out of the skin.
And just earlier, because I had a blanket that was from that, my room's super clean now. Everything's meticulous because I got my mind straight now because I've been sober for a while. I got my mind straight, my head's on straight. I'm cleaning my room, I'm folding my clothes, I'm doing my laundry, I'm taking care of my bills, I'm taking care of my son. I'm getting my son on weekends again. My family's coming back to me. I'm building the bridges back. I'm trusted with the care of my son again. So my life is elevating at this point. But that all was because this girl gave me an ultimatum. I met her. She came over. I went over her house, and I got so drunk that I literally passed out and fell on her floor in the middle of her living room.
What an intro, huh?
What an embarrassment. And that was like the second date. Tripping over, falling, boom.
I'm not laughing at. I'm laughing at.
I mean, we got to laugh about it.
I'm laughing at the comedy of it, not that it actually.
No. No. You have to find humor in these things. You have to.
That is kind of funny.
It's comedic relief.
Yeah.
So it's the second day I do this. I'm thinking this girl's never going to talk to me again, but she's, and so she called. She didn't call me, but we had a conversation. She's like, "Well, if you want to stay with me, you're going to have to quit drinking."
Yeah.
Dude, within 2 days. Because she had, within 2 days, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. But this goes back into the people that you support in your life, or the people that you have in your life that are addicts, or that are alcoholics, or that do have an issue. This goes with being the support system and helping them help themselves, giving them a little push, because I would not be the one to make the call. I would not be the one, because I couldn't do it. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't do it. She's like, okay,
it's a stronghold, dude.
Yeah. And I was like, will you do it for me? And she's like, yes. So she called.
Wow.
She made the appointment. And then she came. She's like, do you want me to drive you there? She called me and I didn't want to go. She made the appointment. She said, well, there's beds that are open at this place. And I was like, well, I can't drive there.
That's actual love. Like, nobody's obligated to you.
Yeah.
Not even your family if you're really messing up. So you should give her some roses out there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's freaking awesome. Definitely cook dinner.
So yeah, man, she called me and she talked to me and she said, I got all this set up. She's like, you want to go today? And I remember thinking, like, not today. No, we can do it tomorrow. And then she was like, well, are you sure? She's like, I can take you. I'll come pick you up. She lives there. So it's like, that'd be like a 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
Well, half hour, 20, 30 minutes to get here.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes downtown.
Yeah.
And I was like, and this is where you make the decision yourself, because you got to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I dug down deep and I found the strength, and I was like, yes, come get me. And this is where that support system, sometimes you have to support gently the people that are in these situations.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to help them.
Yeah.
And this was the person that helped me. She made the phone call. She came, picked me up. She dropped me off. And I went in, spent 5 days in detox. She came, she picked me up. And then we had to go to another location to where I could get this Vivitrol shot. And if you don't know anything about the Vivitrol shot, not only does it work for alcoholism, but it also works for opiates too. it blocks the receptors in your brain that get you drunk or that get you high. So when you drink or you do opiates, you don't get high, you don't get drunk, you get sick. But here's the other cool thing about it. It stops the cravings.
Completely?
Well, maybe with the first week, not so much, but like now, 3 weeks in, because I'm 3 weeks sober from alcohol now. And I've accomplished the amount of things that I've accomplished in the last 3 weeks is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, no judgment here, man. It's a safe space.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Alcohol, it doesn't taste the best, but it's a good depressant.
Yeah.
It's a good relaxer, and those who can't understand that probably don't drink.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, walk a mile in my shoes type thing. But
Yeah.
now, if I walk by the liquor aisle and I look at the liquor, I literally want to like get sick. That's the way it makes you feel. And so, like, 100% sober now. And so, like I said, dude, I defeated and overcame an opiate addiction. And I had started with, like when I was getting off of opiates, when I was in full blown addiction to opiates, the methadone and the Suboxone, but those are just replacements.
Yeah.
They really are. So I had to completely wean myself down. And again, you have to find that strength to want to change yourself, not only for yourself, but the people around you, so you can become who you used to be. And that's the thing about just 3 weeks into me having this Vivitrol shot. I'm back to who I used to be. I'm back to the person that my family used to love. I'm gaining my trust back. Just within these 3 weeks, I'm getting the trust back of my family because they see me. They see my complexion clearing up. I've already lost 10 pounds.
We should shoot a Vivitrol commercial.
Listen, hold on. Check this out.
I'm not going to lie. It's sponsored by Vivitrol.
I had made a post. I made a post on Instagram. And, a couple of videos, 300, 500 views, 1,000 views. Dude, I made a post on Instagram, and it was like a 15-second video. And I was just like, I was drinking 2 fists of vodka a day, and I took the Vivitrol shot, and now I'm clean and sober, and I'm taking care of all my stuff, and blah, blah, blah. Dude, it's at like 8,500 views right now. In like 3 days.
We should shoot a Vivitrol commercial.
And it'll be on the commercial.
I'm actually not joking.
Side effects.
Dude, that's awesome though. And do you think you would have been able to get that under your own willpower? Get that under control? Like, because me, I'm averse to like taking any type of medication to help fix or break out of something. I think prayer and talking to God can do.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? Like, were you scared of it because you didn't want to know what being naked was like without the addiction, or how did that work for you when you got introduced to it?
Well, first introduced to
Vivitrol.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard about it for years.
Okay.
Back when I was in my opiate days.
Right.
I've been clean off opiates for 2025, 2019. It's almost 6 years, about 6 years.
Yeah.
Completely without methadone, without Suboxone, just completely sober.
Yeah.
But my crutch, because every addict, it doesn't matter if they get clean and sober or whatever, they have to have some sort of a crutch because they're an addict, whether it's a cigarette, a vape, working out. Yeah. There's some sort of a crutch for them. And so my crutch would be I'd socially drink. Yeah. I'd get off work, I'd go have a drink, a shot, and it'd be cool. I'd come home. But it wasn't until the beginning of this year that, it went from taking a couple shots at the bar when I got off work to then going back out and having a shot 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
Slippery slope.
And then it got to the point where I'm going and buying a bottle of the good liquor, bringing it home, drinking it, sipping on it. And then it got to the point where it got so bad that I started to buy the cheap liquor, that Kamchatka, that $4.99 a fifth vodka. Yeah. That just, that stuff is.
Dude, I've had
but
it
gets
before,
the job. When you're an alcoholic, it gets the job done, and it's only $4.99.
Yeah.
And when you're shaking
and
stuff, don't. I'm not recommending. I am not promoting Kamchatka. We are not. That is not our sponsor for today's. That is not our sponsor for today's program.
But yeah, no. It seems like that Vivitrol, it like gave you the boost that your girlfriend gave, but just in medication form.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like I'd heard about it for years, and it's just kind of like one of them things where it's just like, because there's a little bit of a process, but it really is simple. Nowadays, it's simple, man. You literally just you call the place that prescribes it, make an appointment. You go in. I filled out some paperwork for 20 minutes. Insurance covered it. I went back. Took me 10 minutes. They gave me the shot. I left. It's good for 30 days. And tomorrow will be 21 days sober for me off alcohol.
Dude,
you know?
Seriously.
So I'm 6
awesome.
years clean off opiates, and now I'm 21 days into defeating alcoholism, and I'm never gonna go back to that, man, because like it's just the way that I'm living my life now. I'm back to who I used to be. I can't go back. I'm on my last, like, my family has given me, and I'm sure that a lot of people out there that are watching this are in the same boat, and they're gonna say the same thing. Well, we've tried to support. He does it. He goes back again. He does it. He goes back again. I've done that probably 27 times to my family, but they kept supporting me.
Yeah.
It was really my grandmother. The rest of my family, they're like kicking to the curb.
Yeah.
We're letting be homeless, which I have, and we can get into that later too. But
Yeah.
when I was in addiction, I was homeless. I was the guy on the street flying the sign.
How supportive was your dad's side? Is your grandma from your dad's side, or?
So, yes.
Okay.
No. Yes. My dad's side.
Yeah.
That's my father's mom.
Okay.
So, yeah. And no, man. When I was in addiction, I had committed some crimes because I was stealing cars, I was breaking into houses, I was catching felonies, and when I finally got caught,
you realize you don't look like that person whatsoever.
Oh, I know, and that's the craziest thing, and that's why I think a lot of people would never know. I don't look like what I've been through.
So I'm saying
at all.
It's kind of not to strike
a lot of people that are addicts. Their teeth are messed up, or they have a complexion, or you can tell they. It's like looking at somebody that has been smoking 2 packs of cigarettes for 60 years.
Yeah.
Compared to somebody else that's been living healthy and eating healthy.
Yeah. It's
like night and day difference. It's just how you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But what I can say is through the years, through the ups and downs, the times that I was doing better, I was always one to go to the gym, work out, have a good diet, take care of myself, skin routines, hygiene, and I would always take care of myself. And so I think that may have a little bit to contribute to that.
100%.
But it also could be good genetics from my father's side of my family too, because I'm 37 years old. I see 30-year-olds that look like they're 60.
Worse. Yeah.
But where were we headed for that?
No, yeah, I was just asking like the impact your dad's side had on, not only you beating addiction, but your addictive side in general. Yeah. So was it like,
we can go back into the shame and the guilt and that process.
Was it hard to be vulnerable?
Absolutely.
Because of the judgment?
Yeah, man, because there was a time where I was clean and sober for a period of time, and I went over to my dad thinking, okay, well, I can at least come over and be honest and vulnerable and say, Dad, I relapsed today. You know what happened? Well, he wasn't there at the time. My sister was.
Yeah.
So I went over there and I told my sister, I said, I relapsed today and I need some help. And she immediately picked up her phone, started texting. And she was texting my dad. And basically they turned their back on me, shut the door. They went, she went in the other room and okay. And so I left, I went out and got in my car and I sat there and I was just like, wow, they literally just shut the door in my face. And it was devastating. And it was like that, but the thing is, it's like, I had done that a few different times and I can understand now why they saw the situation the way it was. Like, oh, hands in the air. Like, here we go again. I get it.
Yeah, it's
I get it.
Can't blame people for, like you were saying with your mom doing what's best for you.
You reach a certain point.
Yeah.
People reach a certain point where it's like, that's the final straw. But sometimes that's the thing, man, is
so I was asking about forgiveness.
There's such a thin line though, man, between supporting and enabling. You cannot enable an addict, but you can support them. But there's such a thin line between, okay, do I help them, or when's the final straw to kind of turn your back and give them a little bit of cold love? Because sometimes giving them that little bit of cold love, because my cold love was, I went and then I had to stay in a homeless shelter. I was homeless. I mean, obviously I was back in addiction, but that cold love was a little too cold. And I ended up being full-blown opiate addict again, stealing, robbing. But back to what I was getting ready to say.
Yeah.
stealing the cars, breaking into houses, committing the felonies, finally getting caught, going to jail. My grandfather's an attorney. And so my grandfather, I was in a holding cell waiting to go to court, and he wanted to come in. He was going to represent me because that was just the cheapest way out. And he said, "I'll go help Gary. I'll go help Gary." And he had been drinking for years and years and years too. But not like an alcoholic at that point.
He could relate a little
He
better.
calls himself a stable alcoholic, or whatever the term they use to describe somebody that just kind of has a couple beers after work, and then that's.
Yeah. It's a thin line, dude. I wanted to emphasize to everybody listening or watching, like, you're like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 steps away from being in Gary's position where he was.
It's a slippery slope, man.
Yeah, and it could happen in a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you have too much. I mean, in all honesty, there's been times where I've been drunk, I've passed out in front of a bar before I wake up in my car. I'm like, dang, bro, I did it again.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider myself an alcoholic.
Right.
That's just a stupid night. That's just like a dumb thing to do. But like I was telling you about hedonism, like you just fall in love with feeling good, you'll get into that addictive cycle of just needing to feel good each and every second of the day, and it's not necessary.
Now, for me, no, it's not necessary. But for me, it was about numbing the pain of the past, of the trauma, of the hurt, but before I get into that, I wanted to finish that story where I was in that holding cell.
Yeah.
So he comes walking in, and my grandmother told me later on that the judge had said, because he goes down to the courthouse too, because he's an attorney, and so he knows some of the judges. And the judge was like, "What are you doing here, Chuck?" And he went up to the bench and said, "Well, my step grandson is back here, and he's in a little bit of trouble, and so I'm gonna go back and talk to him." So he come back, he talks to me, he pulls up to the holding cell, and he looks at me. And this is the moment where he changed and he decided to get sober. Yeah. He looks at me, and because the judge had told him he was going to pay my bond to get me out of jail that day, and he said the judge looked at him and said, "This is on you, Chuck," because that's what his name is. He said, "This is on you, Chuck." And he came back to that holding cell and kind of had tears in his eyes. His eyes were watery. He wasn't crying, but he had water. His eyes were watery.
Yeah.
And he looked at me. He said, and he kind of scruffed up his voice a little bit. He said, "Dean, we're going to get you out of here." Then turned around and left. And he said, "Yeah,
that's heavy."
And turned around and left. And he went and he paid and posted my bond. And he said that day he stopped drinking, and he's been 9 years clean off alcohol. He hasn't drank for 9 years.
Wow.
He said that was the turning point. He said that what that judge said to him
triggered him. Yeah.
Triggered him, and is fried in his head, where he said, "This is on you, Chuck." Because the best thing for me in that time was, because I went to jail. I went to prison 30 days later.
Yeah.
But when you post the bond, you get the money back if you go to court. But I went to court, and he's like, 2 years. But I was facing 18 and a half years. That's how many felonies I had racked up. I had racked up 12 felonies, burglaries and thefts of vehicles.
I mean,
before they finally caught me.
How old's your son?
My son's 6. God. I had my son in 2019.
I couldn't, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done facing 18 years, bro. I don't know what I would have done. God, leave, bro.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, I don't have any words. Keep talking, like, dude. I could. So, like,
but yeah, I was facing.
Yeah,
I was facing 18 and a half years, and I mean, this just goes to show
it's like a fifth of somebody's life.
Yeah, and because the judge, there was leniency there, because the judge, I mean, and this is a reality. It's if you know people, if people know who you Nepotism. Know, I mean, it kind of helps people out. Yeah. So instead of getting 18 and a half years, I got 2, and I got a judicial release at 6 months early. So I spent a year and a half in prison, and prison is no fun.
Yeah.
No fun at all.
You
want to talk about building hypervigilance?
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to put the explicit label on it, but we're gonna have to. But like, is that where you found some of your writing spark? Did you
Yeah.
just have nothing to do? Did they
No,
have cell phones in prison back then?
not then. No.
Okay.
Nowadays they got
They're like
tablets. You can watch TV on the tablets, and you can phone call people on the tablets.
They're
And
on Twitter.
yeah, it's crazy. They're on Instagram doing lives. Like, yeah, what's up? We're making food, and chopping up, making pizzas and stuff. And I'm like, what in the
Making
world?
alcohol from the toilet water.
Yeah, making alcohol and all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah.
But no, in prison, what I would do, man, I kind of had a routine, man, and I was looking good and I was feeling good. I would go to the gym every day, 5 days. I'd take the weekend off. So I'd go to the gym for 2 hours. I'd work out. I played a lot of basketball. So I did a lot of cardio. I loved playing basketball. Hate watching basketball, like watching paint dry to me.
Yeah.
But loved playing it. But yeah, so I played a lot of basketball and I did a lot of reading. But yes, that is where you're correct. That is where I found because I got a journal.
Yeah.
And I started writing. And I'd get these books on psychology, like by Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, books on psychology and books on philosophy, because that's the stuff I'm interested in. Like I can go upstairs and watch a documentary on quantum physics and be invested in it all day long. Like I study quantum physics for fun, and it's like, I tell people that and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's actually really interesting. It is, which led me to like the Dr. Moda Water experiment, down the spiritual path and all that stuff and all that, but, I started reading books about that, and then I got my journal, and you're not supposed to do this, but like I would read a page that like stuck out to me, and I'd rip the page out. And I'd like tape it into my journal.
In movies, dude.
And I'd tape it into my journal, and I'd write my thoughts on it, and I filled up that whole notebook. And man, I wish I could get my hands on that notebook again, because it was so full of just so much of just like what I was going through, notes from my family, letters from my family, the pages I had ripped out, the inner work that I was doing on myself, because I was self-healing at that point.
Yeah.
I was, and I figured out that as I write, I'm releasing emotion. Like I felt relief when I wrote.
Yeah.
And that goes into like me writing my book and me on my WordPress. And I have tons of poetry. I'm a writer. I'm a poet now. I love writing. I love poetry. And it goes into the support from random people saying, hey, man, you got this. You got a gift. After I got out of prison, like, you got this. You got a gift, this and that. But like the emotional release, and like everybody has to find that. They have to find what gives them relief. Because if you don't, it leads to, I need to numb this pain.
Yeah.
Whether it's alcohol, opiates, whatever it is, I need to numb this pain or self-please, and so you have to have or find that emotional outlet that gives you that emotional relief that is not only creative, but constructive. And more importantly, can help the next person that's behind you get to where you're at and even further.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at with my journey and I lost my laptop 2 weeks ago, and I have like 2 chapters of my book missing. It's on the laptop. I got, so it's like, I got to outline somewhere, but I don't know where I got drunk.
Yeah.
I got drunk and I don't know where my laptop is. I don't know where it is. I don't know if I hid it from myself or if I left it in my car, somebody took it. I can't remember or recall. That's how drunk I got. Like I got so drunk, I would wake up and not remember anything I did that day.
Yeah.
And I'd be the guy that'd be so drunk, 2 fists of vodka gone, sending texts I should not be sending, doing stuff I should not be doing on the phone, and I wake up the next day and I'd get a text like, I cannot believe you said that to me last night. You're a sleazebag. You're a scumbag. I don't want to ever talk to you. I'm like, what? And then I scrolled through what I said and I said, oh my God, no, I didn't. Yeah, man, but that's the things that happen, and fortunately I'm rebuilding those bridges, and that's the thing that everybody can do when they figure themselves out and they get their head on straight, and they figure it's time to be selfish for this moment in time. It's time to be selfish for me, because I have to do this for me, and I have to dig down deep to find the strength. It's like in one of my excerpts in my first chapter of my book that's on my WordPress, one of my excerpts is you have to dig down so deep to find that little pilot light, that little flame, and fuel the fan to fire that little pilot light. Because if you look at a water heater has just a little spark.
Yeah.
And then, it heats up the water.
Yeah.
But everybody's still, no matter how far down they are in their life, complete rock bottom. And even if you're at rock bottom has a basement. I went to the basement. I was in the basement.
That was honestly pretty good.
I was in the basement with the water tank. That's where I found out. That's where I found the pot of light.
There's no way you did that yourself. You came up with that?
Yeah, absolutely. All that writing. Yeah, okay. That's an original quote.
Yeah.
I came up with that. So yeah, you have to dig down so deep to find, because everybody's got that little pilot light, even if you're at rock bottom, and you dig down deep enough and you do enough self-work, or you find that strength to just rise yourself up again and fan that flame to where that flame becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, the step to step to step, baby step, baby step, baby step, larger step, giant leap. And then before you know it, you're back to who you used to be. Your relationships are good. Your mind's clearing up. You're taking care of yourself. Your hygiene's back. Your motivation's back. Your inspiration comes back. And, I got that Vivitrol shot. I'm 3 weeks sober. And look at all the social media. You saw it. Like if you look back before, like 3 weeks ago or even 4 weeks ago, last month, I only posted like 3 things. But within the last 3 weeks, I made all that content. That's where that's how clear my mind has came. I mean, I'm a natural creative though.
Yeah.
And so the craziest thing is like, I don't think I touched on this. I think I kind of got cut off, but my friends, when I first started doing them little videos, because when I do social media and I make my little videos and I write and I do poetry and I first started out and my videos were terrible. That's what I was talking about. The post. Go look up Post Malone's first video, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I'm actually gonna do it when we take a break.
You have to. So I had my best friend. I only have, because I keep my circle real small now. And my best friend was like, he messaged me. He was like, "What do you think you're doing? What do you want to be, some influencer? You think you could be some influencer?" And he's like, "You've always been impressed by the dumbest things, Gary." And I'm like, yeah, we have to laugh about it because it's like, are you serious? But it's like, that's my creative outlet.
Yeah.
That's my emotional relief.
Yeah.
Writing and doing the little videos. I find fun in it.
Yeah.
It's fun to me. I find it's my creative expression. It's my outlet. It's my relief. And when I'm doing that, as I'm starting to find my niche, because I'm all over the place at this point, but I'm starting to find where my niche is because of the subjects we just went over. It's sad because I have to kind of like push them away from you, man, because it's like, why wouldn't you just support me? And I told him too, I was like, dude, this is my creativity. This is what I like to do. It's my expression. It's my outlet. He's like, "Look, you've been impressed by the dumbest shit influencing. What is wrong with you? You need to," and I'm like, wow, okay. And then like last week, I got a message from a girl because I had made a post and I accidentally hit send to everybody. It was one of my ex-girlfriends.
Probably the worst button you could press.
Oh my God.
Send all.
And she's like, "Why would you send this to me?" And I'm like, and I didn't say anything to her about that.
Don't respond.
But she was like, what did she say? She's like, "Why would you send this to me?" Because it was kind of like a cut scene of like where I was to like me going to rehab and like me losing love with girl. And I had a couple videos of me and some of the ex-girlfriends I had, and I was like me losing love. And then I made a decision to go to rehab, and now I'm clean, sober.
Yeah.
But I think that made her mad seeing that clip. But she was like, "Why would you send this to me? Your attempt at being a social media influencer, attempt." And then she said, "All you're searching for is this internet clout." And I'm like, wow, tell me how you really feel.
Yeah.
Tell me how you really feel.
So, I mean, I've struggled back and forth even with being on camera too, like, because.
But you have to overcome that. Yeah, you have to overcome that. But it's like, that's people you got, like, once you start to get to a certain level, people are going to just naturally hate on you. And I have a perfect example, and I just made a video about it. It's in my draft folder. I'm going to post it this week.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I said. I said, you want to know how you truly know people are either for you or against you? When you go and on my personal, because my social media page is public. It's all public, but I have my private locked where it's just my friends and my family.
Yeah.
Friends, family.
Yeah.
Take it how it resonates. But you want to know how you secretly have haters, or you have people that are jealous or envious of you, or people that are just not really supportive of you, because people be like, oh yeah, do it. You can do it. But this is how you know. In the past, I'd post a profile picture update. I'd get so many likes. I'd get so many comments. You look great, doing great. Can't wait to see you. This dude, I posted a profile picture 2 days ago. Crickets. Not a single like. Not a single comment. From all my friends and my family.
Yeah, I mean,
and obviously they've seen some of the content that I've been doing, pushing out and stuff like that. And I don't think it has anything necessarily to do with any of the content or anything. It's just about the fact that I'm doing something, and they're feeling some sort of type of way about it. But it's like, that's how you really know who really truly supports you. That's why you got to keep your circle about that big. But my circle that was that big, oh, you want to be an influencer? You're so impressed by the dumbest things in life. No, man, I just that's the other thing that she said. She said your fake authenticity, and your shot at internet clout, and your attempt at social media.
Yeah,
I'm like, wow. Well, first of all, how do you fake authenticity?
You can fake authenticity. I'm not gonna lie.
Can you? You think you can?
You can, because you can position yourself to say the right thing and be the right person for the right situation.
Well, it's kind of like social media is nothing but a highlight reel for people.
So you can, even with like recent events and everything, you can position yourself properly to say the right thing and be exactly what people need to hear and see. But that doesn't mean you actually believe what you're putting out.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's just, that's the type of stuff that I really watch out for. Interacting with people and getting to know them. You got to really dig through and see what people are actually about.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether they will or won't talk about something, whether they will or won't, interact, whether they will or won't call you. You know what I mean? When it comes to entertainment and creating. And
oh yeah, for sure.
That. It's weird, man. It's weird because you also can't expect people to support you. You can't. I expect more people to who don't know me to support it because they're on social media looking for this specific type of channel or video or stuff like that. But the people that know me, they know they can talk to me and call me. So we know you're already about that. So
yeah, for sure.
I had to kind of decouple that. Hey, people who know me and who would like something regularly don't like it when I'm doing something, because who knows? Maybe when you post something with the intent for business or creative purposes, it might get pushed to a completely different algorithm.
That or somebody might take it the wrong way that
Yeah, literally. So I mean, everybody's.
You just gotta, and that's a lot of actors, a lot of people that are famous, a lot of people that are celebrities, a lot of people that have made it, a lot of people that are on a higher level.
Yeah.
They say the similar thing. They say that you get to a place where it's just you.
Yeah.
You have to push yourself.
Yeah.
Because nobody else is going to support you. They're going to leave. They're going to, talk behind your back, or they're going to, whatever the case may be. But you get to a point where you're alone, and you have to push through to the next levels by yourself.
Yeah, because the market doesn't care.
No,
it doesn't care. They just want to see good stuff. They want to see quality.
And the crazy thing is
quality is hard to do, by the way.
Quality content is hard to do. It takes a long time. Like I was telling him before we started, it's like I could take 45 minutes to an hour to edit a 30-second to 1 minute clip. It's the OC just I gotta get this perfect. Yeah. But and I gotta. That's just the way it is. You know? And the people around you will slowly fall off. But that's another thing is, as you move forward in your progression or your succession or your success, the people that will naturally, that's why you're supposed to just kind of be so fluid with people leaving your life, because the people that are for you or the people that are meant to be in your life will either will be there, or the people that won't, are not supposed to be in your life, will naturally fall off.
Yeah.
And you just let those relationships go.
Easier said than done.
It is easier said than done, especially when it comes to certain people in your lives, but it's just like,
yeah,
people that are meant to be there are meant to be there, and the people that are not. And you just kind of have to just walk in a state of just free flowing energy, I guess.
Yeah. I've adopted the principle of limit, not leave.
Yeah.
People that you can't leave, you limit. People that
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, like I heard Gary Vee say it, and
I love him.
Gary Vee's awesome. Yeah, he pulls a lot from.
Cusses a lot.
Yeah, literally.
But
he's
just being authentic.
Yeah, to him.
Yeah.
We'll get into like whose authenticity is the truth. Right? That's a whole separate. We could do a whole podcast on that. But essentially, like, the people you can't like leave and cut off, you limit. The people who you don't want to limit, you're not connected to, you can leave. And if everybody starts from that point of being authentic, like you're saying, it'll be a lot easier to navigate. But it's not the world we live in.
I know it's not the world we live in, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to that's one of the things that I try to push on my social medias.
Yeah.
And within the book that I'm trying to write, if I could ever find my laptop, I'm probably going to have to go buy a new one, because I ain't typing no book on no phone.
No, you shouldn't do that.
But one of the things I push is living in being your most authentic self, because this is kind of like my belief system with authenticity. If people can get to a place where they are living their most authentic lives,
yeah,
they will be the happiest version of themselves. And so as they go out into the world, they are in a state of authenticity, vibrating highest. And that will rub off on the cashier at the gas station. That will rub off at the teller at the bank. That will rub off with the random person walking down the street. And if you're in that state, which is right under love, so if you're in a state of love and authenticity, you're in love with yourself, you're happy with yourself, you're comfortable with yourself, you're confident with yourself, that's going to rub off on the people around you. And it's going to make them start to notice, and it's going to plant a seed, which will change. It'll start a chain effect. And if you can promote and push, that's why if you were to look at my Instagram, the first pinned post that I have, it's kind of like a mini interview, but I have an excerpt, and it says that if I want to create a group of content creators, photographers, videographers, musicians, artists, actors, anybody that has a platform that wants to be able to be inside this group of people that are pushing out people being and living their authentic selves.
Yeah.
Because it will start a chain effect, and that chain effect will change a community. That chain effect will change a town. That chain effect will change a city, to a state, to a nation, to a country, to the world.
Yeah.
It'll take a long time.
Yeah.
But that's like where I'm at with my goal of so I got all these little ideas that I want to put in with the chapters, and so it's that mixed in with a little bit of philosophy, mixed in with a little bit of memoir, mixed in with a little bit of life lessons, mixed in with a little bit of my own story and the things that I've overcame. So it's going to be a little bit of all of that wrapped up into one form, one book. And that's what my goal is finishing that book. But then I also got my poetry. Very good at poetry. I love poetry.
Your poetry is pretty good.
I read a few of your poetry, man.
Yeah,
and there's some small ones, but I got some longer ones. But yeah, man, I just my poetry is part of my soul. It's my soul coming out. It's the reality that I live in and the reality that I have lived in, and it's the side between light and dark, because like I said, I kind of live in a dualistic state of being between my maternal and my father and my mother's side of my family, being switching between both those sides. And so that's why I kind of call it light and dark, because I've lived both lives. I've lived a criminal life, and I've also lived a good life. And, back before I went to prison and really got addicted to drugs, because my grandfather was running for judge at the time for Franklin County. This was like 2006.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get into drugs until like 2011 or 12. But he was part of the Democratic Party, and the Democratic convention had called him. This is when Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama were running for president. It was just down to them two. And the head of the Democratic convention had called my grandfather.
It's a big call.
And he said, "Hey, we just need some volunteers to work on Hillary's campaign." And that's all he said. And he said, "Okay, well." And so he called me, my grandfather. He said, "Hey, you want to be a volunteer on Hillary's campaign?" I said, "Sure, whatever." And so he said, "Okay, well, be looking out for a call. They're supposed to call you." This call I got, it was like something out of Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
I get this call, ring, ring.
If you choose to accept.
Hello?
That's Mission Impossible.
This is Agent so-and-so from the Secret Service. I need your social security number. I'm just like,
whoa, yeah, hold up. No. First off.
But he said it with so much confidence, and I was kind of like looking for the call. And I was like, yes, sir, 27988, And
hopefully that's not your actual one you're just saying. Right?
No.
All right, cool. I was like, hold up.
But yeah, man, I got that call, and then he's like, "Okay, well, you have to be here at this time, this time." The whole call took like 15 seconds. "This is Agent so-and-so. I need your social security number." "Okay, thank you. Meet us here at the airport at this time." So I get to there, I drive there, park the car, or no, I go and I pick up a rental that's supposed to be used for driving. And so I pull onto the target. I get there, I pull on target, Secret Service there. He gives me this little pin, let him know I'm with the Secret Service, working with the Secret Service. Yeah. And it's only 4 vehicles, four rental vehicles, and then Secret Service vehicles in front.
Oh God! Yeah.
Come off the plane, boom, boom, boom. Hillary Clinton gets in the front one. I'm right behind her. Hillary Clinton gets in the front car with the Secret Service.
Yeah.
I'm right behind that car. And Rob Reiner gets in because he was a big supporter. Rob Reiner wrote the movie, directed the movie, like Sleepless in Seattle.
Okay.
Like You've Got Mail.
Yeah, yeah.
Tom Hanks and whatever. So he gets in the backseat of my car. And so then, and they're like, "We're ready to roll." And so we're rolling. And we get onto the freeway, and all the exits are blocked off by cops as we're going. It was the coolest thing. So here I am riding with Hillary.
Was her aura authentic?
Well, I actually was able to like meet her, and after the
you shook her hand. Did her skin come off?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No, you're good.
Yeah. I don't want them to come after me.
No,
it's more so.
No, she's a great person. Absolutely.
There's no emails.
Jeffrey, what? But no, it was a really cool experience because like we get onto the freeway, and we're doing like 90, and here I am doing 80. He's like, "You got to get closer," and like I'm like this far away from the Secret Service vehicle because they're like we got to be close.
Yeah, any gaps could compromise what you're doing. Yeah,
and so here I am, just a volunteer, picking up this rental car, and Hillary Clinton's in front of me. I'm working with the Secret Service. I get a phone call the next day. Here I am driving down the freeway. All the Metro Columbus Police have as we're driving down the freeway, nobody's on the freeway because they're blocking traffic for this escort that I'm in, and I'm driving. And so we pull up to I think it was the real nice hotel downtown, the Windsor, the what? It's right there by the courthouse.
I don't know. Yeah.
I can't remember the name, but it's real nice.
Yeah.
And so we pulled up, and she goes into her hotel room. We're all hanging out, Secret Service hanging out, because she was watching the campaign results. This was right after the because she was doing a speech for the Democratic Party, and they were supposed to have some sort of a voting event or whatever. But after that event, when we were all in the back, she comes out, and Barack, because she had won Ohio. We were watching the election results. She had won Ohio, and as she was coming out, we were all in the back. And she got on the phone, and it was Obama on the phone, on the other side of the phone, congratulating her for winning Ohio.
That's fire.
And Chelsea was right next to her. Chelsea Clinton was like right next to her.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should hit on Chelsea,
Get some of that bread. Actually,
marry into that.
They would have you hogged in the basement somewhere. They'd
have a background check done on me in 30 seconds.
You'd probably still be addicted with Hunter Biden's son or whatever.
I'd be sent to Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. Yeah, you mind if we take a bathroom break?
Yeah, man, for sure.
Let's pause this real quick.
It'll take like a minute before people start popping in anyway.
Yeah, hopefully you guys can hear us here. Can you test your mic really quick?
Test.
Test, indeed.
Test.
Okay, cool.
I can't vape on the thing. They'll give me a violation. I did it once and they
For
gave me a violation.
vaping?
Yeah.
Really?
Because they're real strict. Yeah, I was vaping and it was like, violation, close your thing now or you're going to lose your life for a week. And I was like, wow.
Oh, God, bro. God. I mean, yeah, no, that sucks. We could talk about it. Have you heard about like Spotify and their new terms and conditions? So
Dude,
essentially,
I'm scared to click accept terms and conditions anymore because like they can use you for anything if they want.
well, that's essentially what Spotify is doing. They're like, hey, if your stuff is on our
We have
platform,
access to it. Like
yep,
we can like watch
we can
your
train
screen.
our AI with it, all that good stuff.
Yeah, with your face. It's crazy, man.
With your voice, with anything. So
there was a Black Mirror episode about that.
Which one?
About one of the actors who got AI driven, and then they shoved her out because it was all AI from that point.
Was it from the new season?
I can't remember.
I think that's the Miley Cyrus episode.
No, that one was where she was stuck in a little robot. This one had an actual actress in it, and because she was AI at that, she was signing a bunch of terms, and she went from being physically, so they had to pay her, to her being AI and being kicked out. So
that's insane. Well, I mean, that's just where we are in life.
I know it, man. I know it.
Yeah. But welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to 106 in the morning. No, I'm kidding.
Power 107.5.
Yeah. I feel like 50, 40 years ago, even 30 years ago, we have been doing this on radio.
Yeah.
But yeah. We had to take a bathroom break, like an hour-long bathroom break. But we're back, and we're just going to talk about Gary and a little bit about his ideas. You know, you, like I said before, you're kind of an enigma, man. Like, you're not only like a philosopher of sorts, but a poet, and you write books. You ever thought about writing screenplays or getting into acting at all?
So, yeah, that's actually one of the things that's in my journal. It's like, that's just another thing down the road. But like, my ex-girlfriend from last year, man, she told me, she was like, you do so much, you do so many things. And I think that's part of like my ADHD is like, I start one thing and I have to like hone it, and I keep going to different projects. Like I'll start writing a book and I'll write a poetry, then I want to get out the acrylics and make a painting, and then I want to, make a content, and it's like I gotta focus on one thing at a time. So like
too many tabs open.
Way too many tabs open. And so I've closed a lot of those tabs, and what I'm focusing on now is my book, because I really think that with where my social media is heading and the niche that I'm assuming is what's going to bring my followers and stuff like that is helping people that have been in struggle, and have been in trauma and turmoil and hurt and pain in their life, and sharing my story, because I've been through so much. And I think that I could probably touch on every little bit of trauma that somebody has experienced at least once in their lives. I've experienced several, if not dozens, and so that's where my book's headed. I want to incorporate all that. So yeah, you want an enigma. I'll take that as a huge compliment. I'll take that as a
I got to produce on camera.
I'll take that as a huge compliment, man, because I am a writer. I am a poet. I am paintings, I do look into philosophy. I do study quantum physics for fun. It's normal people are like, hey, are you into football? Are you into sports? I'm like, no, dude, it's like watching paint dry to me. And it really is. I'd rather go dive my nose into a philosophy book and whatever. But talking about my book, man, and you read the first chapter. The first chapter of my book is on my WordPress. I mean, you can follow me across all media platforms at R Gary West, and the link to my WordPress is in my Linktree app in my bio and my Instagram. So, or you could go to WordPress and type in R Gary West too. But and you can read a lot of the poetry that I've written, and my first chapter to this book that we're actually getting ready to talk about is posted at the top. So WordPress at R Gary West. You could check it out if you want to.
Yeah. How you feel about open sourcing your intellectual property?
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, I mean, essentially, like, even like the screenplays or the screenplay that I've written, I would never put it online anywhere.
Yeah, because people can steal it.
Yeah, well, they'll repurpose it, and then you'll see Walt Disney Studios taking a version of your idea. You're like, hey, hold up, man, but you can't really sue them because you put it on a platform. So, like, what gave you the confidence to put it on a WordPress?
But if it's too similar, because like WordPress, like you click publish, so it's published content in your name.
Yeah.
So it's like predates, and if it's way too similar, you could sue them for that. because it's predated.
True.
But
they already ran off with the idea,
they already
millions.
I mean, but
so
what are you
going
to do? That's the cost of putting yourself out there at the beginning. Is
true.
It's like a lot of these actors, like they started off in movies. They're A-list actors making tens of millions of dollars now, and they started off and they got paid $1,000, $10,000 for their $500 for their first role in their movie. You know what I mean? It's like it's just one of the costs of putting yourself out there.
That makes sense. I like the way you put that, because that's what makes me afraid to do it. Because I just don't want the IP taken, because IP is everything, literally. What is Disney without their IP? What is Spotify without the IP of the artist that subscribed there?
But if you don't put yourself out there, then those people won't see it and come back to you, and they could potentially come back to you for more, or you could be discovered that way too. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of up and coming artists in music and stuff like that. A lot of their beats they give their beats away for free. They give their lyrics away for free just to be able to have that. It's kind of like a collaboration. Like the collaboration is worth way more than anything I could have gotten from holding that to myself.
It's leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah. No, I like the way you put it. I don't know, man. It's just scary. Like, I always want to put like legalities and contracts behind.
I know. I get it.
The IP that I have, but it's important that people know what you're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure.
It's being your own salesman, which is not easy, is difficult, because it's hard to sell one of anything. Even getting people on this podcast for an interview, you're selling something about yourself or about the brand and everything. So credit to you though, man. But can you let's take a slow walk through the first chapter, because it's pretty dense.
I mean, it is dense. I would have to have it in front of me to like really go through all of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have the outline here, and what I was thinking about is actually like going through and reading, but I forgot I have the outline right in front of me. So no, the first chapter is I incorporate a little bit of philosophy. I incorporate some quotations that are very meaningful. I incorporate a little bit of memoir, a little bit of life lessons in it. I give a little bit of my background in the intro. And then further on the outline and further on in the book, I'll go deep dive and in depth about, things that I went through, the trauma, how I overcame, things of that nature. But basically, like, the first chapter, the bullet points that I have is like personal struggles and growth. Viktor Frankl's background. Viktor Frankl was a guy that was an Austrian physicist. In World War II, he was in a Nazi concentration camp, and he wrote a book after he got out. And his book was called A Man's Search for Meaning. It was a Pulitzer Prize winner. And hundreds of millions of copies have been sold. And one of his favorite quotes from that, or one of my favorite quotes from that book, which is also one of his most famous quotes, is suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning. And so going back to what we were talking about how I grew up, about the things that I went through, about the trauma that I survived. If you can't get to a place where you find the meaning behind the usefulness or the meaning behind what you went through to move forward in your life, then it's useless. It's still suffering. But with that quote, suffering ceases to be suffering. So at that point, if you find the meaning behind your suffering, it's no longer suffering. It's used as something that can propel not only somebody behind you, but to propel them to get them to where you're at in life or even further. So you can take the suffering that you had, find the meaning of it for your life, and use that as a goal to do whatever you wish to do with it. So that's an awesome quote. Suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning.
You seen like a homeless man that's like supremely happy, and then you see like the CEO typically that's miserable. But even regardless of the homeless man's mistakes, he knows his purpose, versus the CEO, they lost it.
And I think that that's my purpose, man, is because it's like I said in the very, very beginning of this podcast, is your calling will always be tapping you on the shoulder, and it won't leave you alone. It's one of those things where it's like, hey man, you need to do this. It's basically spirit saying, hey, this is your goal. This is what you need to do. This is your purpose. And this is what you need to do to change humanity for the better. And so that's what the tap on my shoulder was with this book, with my poetry and with my writing, but mainly this book. The ideas that come, it's been a work in progress for over a year now, mainly because I stopped for months, especially because I started drinking for 8 months. I mean, who has the motivation to write a book when you, I mean, I think it was Ernest Hemingway. He said, "Write drunk and edit
Yeah,
sober."
some of them like blasted, bro. Yeah.
Blasted.
What is it? I can't think of the guy's name. He did the Raven story.
I think Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah,
Edgar Allan
blasted.
Poe.
Blasted. A few of them get
Raging
sauced.
alcoholic.
Yeah.
Raging
A few of them
alcoholic.
get sauced. I mean, even the philosophers, bro, like Nietzsche. I don't know if he's like a drunk or not, but he's definitely sad enough to be drunk.
Yeah.
Like his
Absolutely.
sadness was his drunkenness,
Yeah.
essentially. So I subscribe to that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the ideas flow. Now, if you're an addict, please don't drink and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, do not drink and go try to write a book.
Yeah, but if I feel like it soothes the creative mind in a lot of ways when you're intoxicated.
It does. It does.
Yeah, doesn't mean it's the most optimal.
No. Well, I mean, for me, the times that I've gotten blasted, drunk, and tried to write, I lose all my motivation. So that's not for me. I mean, you know, drugs affect everybody differently, but for me, I lost all motivation to do anything that inspired me before. But my sobriety, my head's clear, I'm thinking clear, and I'm focusing back on my goals. And I've started writing poetry again, doing my social media content, and I didn't know where any of this went. I just kind of was just like doing stuff. And like it's all starting to come together like pieces to a puzzle.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to put them together, and it's all starting to funnel down into one main goal.
Yeah.
You know, I was just kind of like, well, let's just go for it. And sometimes it's what you got to do in life, is you just got to go for it.
Figure it out later.
Just figure it out later and just dive into the deep end.
Yeah.
Trial by fire.
Yeah. It puts hair on the chest too.
Yeah, it definitely does, for sure.
I think failing is something that we can't get rid of in society, dude. Like, especially with social media, everybody expects to go viral or everything like that, but it's okay to get 10 views. If you think about it, like if you post something and it gets 10 views, think of like 10 people actually being there.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Or 1,000 people in a room in a seminar.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, but
or 10,000 people is a football stadium.
Yeah.
You know?
But on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it looks like nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we got to cut ourselves a little more slack and give ourselves grace and encourage us to keep trying.
I know. I do the same thing. When I get a video, it gets like 42 views. Like I want to delete it so bad, but then delete it and re-edit it. And it's like, you know, there's that line, that barrier, but leaving it or not leaving it or re-editing it because of the visual context. People have like a 1.5 to 3 second attention span. There's, you know, so
yeah, it's difficult, bro. We're in thumbnail culture.
It is, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, Viktor Frankl, that quote changed my life. When I read that book, I was in a jail cell in Columbus, Ohio. Not in prison yet. This was in the jail.
Yeah.
But I read that book, and you know, side note, last time I had gotten arrested, they took me to jail, and on my way out, one of the deputies said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, this is your 10th visit to this place."
Dude. So that means he was there long enough. That might have been within the same year.
Records.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Oh, so he might not have been.
He just looked up the records.
That's still nuts.
Yeah, like, so like when I was in active addiction, man, I was going hard. I was just out there, just balls to the wall, man.
Yeah.
Going crazy. But that suffering that I went through, because like I said, you know, I had been homeless for a while. I was staying in a homeless shelter. You know, the addiction took over. I was committing crimes. I went to prison. I've been to the jails. You know, with the mother side of my family being all criminals, you know, I sought comfort in them because I felt accepted, because they accepted me for doing all that stuff because of that. But, you know, I was shunned away from my father's side of my family, you know, and so now I'm back on my father's side of my family. I had to completely cut off my mother's side of the family, had to completely cut off my mother. I don't talk to him anymore. I haven't talked to my mother in over 5 years, and I don't plan on talking to her anymore because she's just she's negativity and very, very toxic. And I can't have that around not only me as in recovery, or my son, or my family, or the success that I have planned for my future, my goals. Like, and you got to cut out if you're focused on a goal, anything that is against that goal, it goes. You know, anything negative towards that goal, it goes. Is this helping me towards my goal? It goes. Is this promoting my goal? It goes. So you got to have that. You got to have that mindset when you're focused and determined on trying to build something or build a foundation. And, I always say you have to build a solid foundation to build a house on.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, like I said, those 10 views, the next video gets 20 views, next video gets 25 views. You can't stop there because you're building your foundation to build your house on.
Right.
Literally. So that's your foundation that you're building. And failure is a part of the process. The more you fail, the more you learn. The more you fail, the more times you get back up, the more tries you have to succeed.
Yeah. I actually enjoy the friction at this point. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that you fail at, it's not
like that growing pains.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not that the idea wouldn't have worked. Bless you, whoever that was. Yeah. But it's not like the idea wouldn't have worked. Your execution might have been lacking, or it just might not have been the right time.
Right.
So, but the friction of it and building something, that's more fun than seeing the actual success.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm like super successful in anything, but at the same time, you wouldn't be able to get to that success or any level of success without failing 10 times before that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
even writing on a page.
And the thing is you got to have a certain type of, not only mindset, but you have to have a certain type of intellect to be able to understand that concept.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that ability to
patience
and to persevere through that level.
It's tough.
It is tough. It's tough building a foundation.
Yeah, no, I'm not sitting up here saying
but you got to build that foundation solid and strong.
It's tough.
Because I'm going to tell you what, man, going from like the first video that I ever created to like the videos I create now, it's a growth process, like growing pains, and that friction comes along the way. And if I would have gotten any of the negativity, the hate, or the pushback where I am here at one of my latest videos here, I would have been devastated. And
you just stopped.
And so it's a growing process to learn how to overcome those things, navigate those things, maneuver your way through and get to that, and so it's like baby steps. So you got to push through those moments of doubting yourself. You got to push through those moments of not feeling like you have enough strength to carry on, to continue, or the self-doubt or the doubt from others. And that's a big thing too, is the people around you. I wouldn't even tell anybody about anything you do about any of the closest people around you, because you know what they're going to do? They're going to say, you can't do that. You ain't going to be able to do that. And they're just going to put doubt in your mind and negativity in your mind, and you're going to stop achieving or going and striving towards your goal. So
a little bit of that snake venom is all right, though, man. Like it really is. It'll build your skin.
Motivating.
Yeah, no, it'll build your skin. But I genuinely believe that if you let it stop you, you just weren't meant to do it.
Yeah.
Like
that's true.
Think of how many first-time directors or first-time writers, they would have stopped after their first page because somebody was like, "Yeah, it sucks." Like, well, of course
they read it and it's like,
I'm showing you something that's not finished. Of course, it's gonna suck.
But you got to take it as constructive criticism.
Yeah.
All of it. That's everything. You got to take it as constructive criticism.
Which I struggle with too, man, because you work hard at something just for people to like it or dislike it.
Yeah, dude.
Or people to say,
like, you spend a half an hour working on a video for a 30-second clip, and then you get 100 views.
Yeah.
Or you get somebody to comment some stupid, silly comment.
That'll ruin your day.
And it's like, you just got to push through that stuff, man. Just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Got to keep going.
To our credit, Frankel didn't have social media.
That's true too.
Frankel didn't have the internet where you could look up literally anything and look up things that'll affirm or
ChatGPT.
Yeah, literally. Also, don't use ChatGPT to write anything you actually want to get out.
It's completely unoriginal.
Yeah, don't do that.
And inauthentic.
Yeah. Refer to the top of the video for the authenticity conversation. But so let me ask, who are you writing to or for?
So I'm writing for the rejects. I'm writing for the people that are lost.
The island of misfit toys.
I'm writing for the people that are broken. I'm writing for the people that have lost touch with themselves. I'm writing for the people that look up and wish that they could get to where somebody else is. And I'm writing for the people that have experienced trauma, turmoil, heartbreak, pain in their life. And I'm writing for the people who are the outcasts. I'm writing for the people that are the underdogs. I'm writing for the people that have lost their lives, that want to get it back, but can't find the strength to persevere
Yeah.
to get themselves to where they want to be, to continue where they were in their life before they backslid or they hit rock bottom. Because a lot of people, they'll backslide or they'll hit rock bottom and they will never again get back to where they used to be as a person. And so that's what my goal is for this book. That's who I'm writing to.
That's a lot of people. Like, what?
It's the broken, it's the lost, it's the hopeless.
And I think that's admirable. Like, what was that decision or that tipping point to where you were like, you know what, I'm gonna put this into a book form? You know, because you could have got out and started any medium. You know, you're on a podcast interview right now.
I think it's because when I found out I had a gift at writing, and then that tap on the shoulder came, and then as I started to slowly put things out and write, the emotional release I got was the tapping kind of slowed off a little bit, if that analogy makes sense.
It does.
And then the tapping comes back when I
stop.
Yeah, and it's like, and then basically they're like, Adam Sandler in the Happy Gilmore when he's choking his, he's like, he's choking his cat. Yes, yeah, that's how I get if I stop writing.
Did you see Happy Gilmore too?
Yes, dude, I loved it. It was more nostalgia.
It was definitely politically charged.
It was a nostalgic film for me, you know, and it had a cameo every 2 seconds,
which was fun.
It was fun. It was fun.
But yeah, no, I've definitely felt that tap. It's more like a whisper to me. It's like, hey, you should be writing this part of your movie.
Yeah, it's your goal.
Yeah, you should be rewriting this. Yep. You know, what would you call that tap? Is that God for you? Or is it just some random?
No,
I know Joe Rogan calls it like the whatever spirit, whatever he calls it.
It's spirit to me. God, spirit, the same thing. God, spirit, consciousness. That's all the same thing to me.
We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
But so that spirit, that God consciousness you're talking about, it taps you on the shoulder
because
some people genuinely can't feel that.
Yeah, because they're so enamored in their lives, their daily lives. They're so enamored within the system that is what our world is made of. Go to school, go to college, get a job,
get into debt,
get your 401k, work all your life, retire, have 2.5 kids, and buy a house, save for retirement, retire when you're 70, have 10 years of life left, and go on a cruise to Boca Raton. That's the system that has been placed before us.
Doesn't sound like a terrible life.
It doesn't. No. But it doesn't sound like a terrible life. No, right. I mean, I'm not discrediting that type of life in any way.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, when I'm referring to a calling, you can still have and maintain that lifestyle or that life. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you have a calling from Spirit or God, that's tapping you on your shoulder and it won't leave you alone, it's like, I've got to do this. But my tipping point was, I've got to do this because I wholeheartedly want to help humanity get to a better state. Get to a better state of consciousness, get to a better place, get to a better state of love and accepting themselves, of embracing their authenticity. Because I genuinely believe that if you can repair the broken wounds of somebody or an individual, that you're giving them the ability to move forward in life, and you have now set them up for their goal. And if you can motivate them to chase after what their tap on their shoulder is, then you have done your job and your calling as what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, and you're essentially repairing yourself.
You are. Yeah, because healing others is healing to yourself.
Yeah. I think like even you and me looking at each other right now, or us looking in the camera, like we're mirroring whoever is listening, whoever's watching.
Absolutely. Yeah,
and it's important that we don't lose that. Because violence is the default. Mm-hmm. Like in hate and disdain and stepping on toes to get up, like, and stealing and all that is the default. So that's why we were talking about earlier, like, how did you break out of that? Because most people can't, or most people won't. Like, there's billions. And
break out of what? The cheating way, or what?
Break out of the carnal mindset. You know, carnality, it talks about in the Bible, like your first mind, what that is.
Like the
your sin nature, what you would naturally do, which is selfishness. Mm-hmm. You know, there's this whole debate, like even they say, is a baby sinful? And they're like, how could something so pure and so young and so innocent be sinful? It's like, I get the other side of the debate and the argument, because when a baby cries, what is it crying for? It's crying to better itself. It's crying
Mm-hmm.
because it needs something.
Mm-hmm.
Because they need something, they need to be fed or birthed or changed. And we're just the adult versions of that.
Yeah.
And it's only until, God or the Holy Spirit, or however it comes to you, or however he comes to you, taps you on the shoulder or whispers in your ear, that you can start detaching from that. They even, in the Methodist Church, they talk about it being a spark, and you
Yeah.
can't have that without a spark, which is true. But at the same time, like, if you humbly open yourself up and ask for God's wisdom, He'll grant it to you,
Oh, absolutely.
and He'll start tapping you on the shoulder and tell
Correct.
you what to do.
You have to be able to look for that tap, though. You have to be able
Yeah,
to. I mean, you can't just say, "Hey,"
yeah,
and then just go about your day. You have to really internally self-seek, and you have to really acknowledge that once you prayed that prayer, you're serious. And so
yeah.
if
Not
God,
be
God and
double-minded.
God's going to be
Yeah,
serious, and so you have to listen. You have to look for the signs. You have to look for the what it is that he's tapping you on your shoulder about.
mm-hmm.
Because when that idea pops in your head, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, that's a funny idea. Go write that down. Go write the
Type it in your
next stuff.
phone. Yeah,
When you get an idea that's normally something that you want to ask for this and God and guidance and this or whatever, and that pops in your head, and that's a thought that you think that you never would have thought before, and you're like, huh, write that down or remember that. Tap it in your phone, because that's exactly what you just prayed for.
yeah, yeah.
And you just got to learn to listen to that. And then it's kind of like building a conversation. You learn each other's language.
That's a good point.
You learn each other's language. So as you veer off this way with that idea, and then the language barrier starts to decrease a little bit, you start to weave and flow, and you learn a language between yourself and God.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
And then when you build a strong enough relationship, you'll get a tap on the shoulder. You'll be like, oh, that's God.
Yeah, yeah. God's
Okay,
language
boom.
is universal. Like, how they say math is the universal language.
Mm-hmm.
That's technically true. It's ones and zeros. But like, when you start thinking and ruminating, meditating on the things of God and His Word, that'll come to you in a modern day form too.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see the words in the Bible and you're like, dang, like, I don't really understand it. But if you ask God for that wisdom,
It could pop up on your social media page.
Exactly.
Because God works with everything.
Yeah.
He's not just some ancient.
I like you, man.
Yeah, God's not just some ancient, Hebrew worshipped God. He is literally a omnipresent, omniscient,
living being. Yeah.
And He created all things.
And you can hurt His feelings too. You can hurt God's feelings. Like, He is experiencing this life with us.
So you mean to tell me that a God that created the universe, that's intelligent enough to be able to create the universe and everything around us, can't inspire somebody's mind to create something specifically made for you to pop up on your For You page or your scroll screen,
right,
that you're supposed to listen to, that will motivate you, that will begin your tap on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's real. It's real.
The main reason people stop listening to God is because of bitterness.
Yeah.
Bitterness is like really the root of most of the sin that we deal with, whether that's greed or sexual immorality or anything like that. When did you start developing your sense of who God is? Not who we make God out to be, but who He is Himself.
So, I mean, I was born and raised in the church.
Yeah. Catholic?
No. Although
Baptist?
I went to a couple Catholic schools.
Yeah.
That I got expelled out of.
I'm laughing with you. But what, Baptist? What denomination?
I mean, I've been through non-denominational.
Yeah.
I mean, I went to a couple of, because my uncles went to St. Charles. That's a Catholic school. So my grandmother goes to a Methodist church on Sundays. I went to non-denominational mostly. I went to Catholic churches. I went to several different denominational churches. And if I were to consider myself inside the denominational aspect of anything, I would consider myself non-denominational.
Okay.
But that's where I'm at. But when I first found God, I was always the kid that sit in the pew. Oh, this is whatever. And then you grow up and go in your teen years, and it's still oh, this is whatever. But then you go through some hardship, and you go through some hard times, and you go into the church, and the people around you give you love and support and comfort.
And the truth.
And the truth,
Yeah.
and it it resonates with you. And that's the other thing too about your intuition. Your intuition never lies to you, and you have to learn to build a relationship with your own intuition, because your gut feeling is usually right. And so when people start speaking truth to you and it resonates to you, and your intuition and your gut feeling tells you, hey, this is real, this is authentic, this is the real deal, this is love, this is truth, you have to learn to listen to that, and so
Humbly. Yeah.
when you get
It's
and
hard to do.
it is hard to do. But yeah, I grew up in the church. I was always rolling my eyes, and then I got in trouble. I got in trouble in my teen years, and I started getting into drugs when I was in my 18s and 19s, going to the clubs. And so I stopped going to church, because I was getting older and I didn't have to go with my family. My grandma never made me anymore. Hey, it's time to go to church. You got to wake up. I'm like, Sunday school.
Sunday school was the best.
I did like Sunday school. I did like Sunday school.
Sunday school was awesome. The teachers were so nice, some nice ladies. Like, yeah, bro.
But after it wasn't until my late 20s, early 30s, when I started to develop a sense of really reading the Bible, and really, really honing in on it. And so I started to really read it. And I didn't just read it, I read it word for word, and I read word for word for what it was, slowly, and I let it sink in.
Yeah.
So I
took
read
in the
each
information.
verse. Yeah, I didn't just scroll through it and just read it to read it, or read it to check a box. I read each verse to how it applies to me in my life, and how it could and how it made me feel, and how it resonated with me in that particular moment, because the Bible is a living, breathing word of God. It's alive. And one verse may mean something to somebody else. That same verse may mean something to somebody completely different. There's depth to that. The same verse can have many depths.
That's true. Yeah, based on where you're at, how you're looking at it. But how I was taught to study the Bible is that there is an absolute truth that it's speaking.
Oh, absolutely.
So once we look at it from there, then you can disseminate what it's saying to the body and then to yourself.
Yeah.
No, dude, that's awesome. So when you're writing this book or jotting down the ideas, you are putting like yourself in there, and then some of your literary influences. But is it mainly like God? I can't stand sometimes when people are like, God told me to tell you, or God said we should do this.
Yeah.
Like, would you say that God was like, he was the one tapping you on your shoulder saying, yo, like, I need you to speak to the lost and the broken? Because you're doing great speaking to the lost and the broken right now, but book form is different. That takes a certain amount of commitment.
So, how do I put this?
Yeah.
I don't feel that it's necessarily God tapping me on the shoulder saying, hey, you need to do this.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a calling that I need to accomplish this for the betterment of humanity, for the purpose of God's work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that was perfect, actually.
Yeah. So, and being able to do that, when this book is in completion, whoever picks it up, it will speak to whoever it speaks to, whether it gets one book sale or a million book sales.
Yeah.
It will go where it needs to go, because it was divinely orchestrated to be put together in the form that it was.
Yeah.
So it's putting forth the work to change humanity for God's work, because we are the hands of God. And so that's how I am going about this. So, but yeah, man. Back to Frankel. Frankel's background, like I said, he was an Austrian physicist. He was in a Nazi concentration camp. He found meaning in the suffering, and he got out, and he developed a mental health. It's called logotherapy, and logotherapy basically means finding meaning. That's what logotherapy is. And so you talk about many forms of different therapy, but that's when I came across that term, logotherapy, man. I was like, wow, that's what really changed me. And when I was sitting in that prison cell and I read that book and I came across logotherapy, I was like, that is the therapy that I've been looking for my whole life. Because that's when that spark came. I was like, finding meaning in what you've been through. Meaning therapy is what it means. And so I go over that. And then I, within the first paragraph that's on my WordPress, I go into that. I incorporate all of this philosophy, memoir, challenges, overcoming a little bit of my story, my background, the wrongs I've committed, the overcoming, because it's kind of like a summary of what the rest of the book will lead into. But I go over my personal challenges, the inner flame, that pilot light that you have to flame when you're deep down, deep into the darkest depths, that you have to flame. That inner flame I talk about, the message of resilience, encouraging others to find their inner light and their purpose, like we just talked about.
Yeah.
Finding purpose, just like we talked about. Being able to listen to and learning the language between you and God, and learning the language to be able to find that purpose, and listening to those cues and building that language and establishing that language barrier between you and him. That way you can navigate through life to find your calling, to find your purpose, to better humanity and be the hands of God, to push that forward and change humanity for the better, to be the hands of God and do the work. And then, Frankl's influence, he's had a huge influence. His book sales, like I said, it was a Pulitzer Prize. But, he emphasized on finding the meaning through serving others and personal responsibility.
Yeah.
And then I go and, that's just chapter 1. And chapter 1's like a 25-minute read. So I think it's like 5 or 6
It was
words.
a pretty long read, but it's worth it. It really is.
Yeah. But that's a book for you. I think a normal book's like 250, 300 pages.
Yeah.
So like, break down an outline of book, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 2 goes into, like embracing the journey of self-discovery. And so like, I think we kind of touched on that, a little bit of my self-discovery journey, of how I found myself, of how I went from the trauma, the addiction, to recovery, to overcoming, to moving my life in a successful forward fashion, and helping those along with me. But that's what chapter 2 is basically going to be about, is finding and embracing the journey of self-discovery. Lessons learned from past experiences, discussing how to overcome the obstacles and the challenges that shaped me, and the understanding of my life and my purpose. This is what we just talked about, my purpose of what I'm funneling into with all of this and everything that I've created and done so far. And, highlight the importance of self-reflection and how it has helped me grow.
Yeah.
All
right, we had to take another break here.
A fun break.
Gary's actually a natural actor, but he's so humble he's not going to say anything about it.
And if you go to my, I'll probably upload that video, because it's like a 30-second video. It'll be a good one to watch. So if you go to my social medias, literally at rgarywest.com, you will see where that came from. I'm out of breath, and so is he a little bit. And if you go to watch my video on Instagram, TikTok, at rgarywest, you will see it.
I can't wait.
By the time this comes out.
We were just going through the highlights of your book.
Man. Like chapter 1, chapter 2, we already went over chapter 1, chapter 3. Just like the role of stoicism. I won't go into all the other chapters, but it's serving others, the mindset, responsibility, lessons learned, message of hope, lessons learned, future aspirations, what are your goals? What are you trying to get to? What's stopping you from getting your goals? Messages to others, what are you doing it for?
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
I love
how, what are you doing to better humanity?
Yeah. I love how throughout the entire podcast you've been focused on other people, even though you talked about yourself the whole time. Like, ironically, like, you're focused on
ironically.
Like, I love
paradox.
I love it, man. Like, and I want you to know your story is going to help out a lot.
Yeah, for sure, man. I hope so. So yeah, man. Like, when we wrap this up and whatever, and this is done, share my social media, because I got a lot of stuff about recovery on there, and that's my goal. Share my WordPress, and share this YouTube video, share this podcast, because I do hope that my words will change and inspire and help people overcome their struggles and the things that they went through, and then wrapping back up into the rest of my book and going into stoicism. What is stoicism? Stoicism is basically, it's a mindset, it was back in, ancient Greece or something like that. But they got 4 Stoic virtues: wisdom, temperance, justice, and courage. Wisdom, our ability to see things as they are, free from bias. Temperance, our ability to exercise self-restraint, self-control, moderation, and then discipline. Justice, the 3rd Stoic virtue, our capacity to behave in the interest of the common and wider good. Courage, the ability to act in alignment with what we think is right, despite pressure or not. So that's the 4 key pillars of Stoicism, which I kind of incorporate everything into my book.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be incorporating in.
Are you writing straight from those principles, or are you going to sprinkle them in?
Sprinkle them in with a little bit of memoir and a little bit of life lessons, and how each one of those principles that I learned later on in life, that I figured out how I could have applied them back then.
Yeah.
And so that will give, if somebody's reading that, they will take what I went through and hopefully be able to learn from the experiences that I went through and apply these principles to moving forward.
Yeah.
And there's a quote here, Stoic dichotomy of control: to achieve freedom and happiness, you need to grasp this basic truth. Some things in life are under your control and others are not. Within your control are your own opinions, aspirations, desires, and the things that repel you. We always have a choice about contents of character in our inner lives. Not within your control is literally everything else. You must remember these things, externals, and none of your concern. Epictetus, philosopher.
Yeah, that's some powerful stuff. Makes me think of how I need to get better right now.
Very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Yeah, turn this off. Don't turn it off yet.
But going with those 4 pillars of Stoicism, things that are within our control. The things that are within our control are our thoughts, our actions, our reactions, and our beliefs. Outside of our control, other people, the economy, the weather, traffic, our reputation, our body, etc. So what we got here, and this is all, like I said, this is all wrapped up. I'm just kind of going into Stoicism because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Practice mindfulness, negative visualization. Imagine worst case scenarios, potential losses, to help you appreciate what you have and prepare for the challenges that come your way. Practice gratitude. Cultivate a grateful mindset by acknowledging and appreciating the positive aspects of your life. That goes back when you were talking about how people wake up and cuss themselves and the negative thoughts. And remember to look up Dr. Emoto's water experiment, and how positive thoughts can change your reality and change your life for the better.
Yeah.
And then amor fati. Learn to love and accept your fate. And that kind of goes with logotherapy, where suffering ceases to be suffering when it finds meaning. Love and accept your fate, including the hardships and the challenges that may come your way. So that's, like I said, that's all going to be wrapped up with the Stoicism and the mindfulness, and there's books on this stuff. That's philosophy stuff. Then, back to Viktor Frankl, which you can, like I said, back on my WordPress with chapter 1. This is weaved into the first chapter. Logotherapy is a therapeutic approach that helps people find personal meaning in their lives. And there's a quote: Frankl believed humans are motivated by something called a will to meaning, which it's kind of true, because if you think about it, that's that tap on the shoulder, are motivated by that will to meaning. But we have to learn to listen to it. We got to learn to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Frankl emphasized the importance of striving for a meaningful goal rather than seeking a tensionless state of happiness or comfort. We can't always just be in a state of happiness or do the things that please us. You have to strive for a goal, and you can't always just be in comfort. You have to have that friction, like you talked about. Friction helps you grow, helps you push through. Suffering can cease to be suffering when it is imbued with meaning. I've said that like 15 times this episode. Such as the purpose of sacrifice. So what are you sacrificing in order to reach your goal? What are you sacrificing to find that meaning? What are you sacrificing to be able to use yourself as the hands of God to push humanity forward in a better way?
Yeah.
That. So yeah, my book, man, this is, I like I said, I didn't want to go over all the chapters because we're wrapping this up, but the primary motivation for living is to find meaning. And Viktor Frankl's book, if you wanted to pick it up, is Man's Search for Meaning. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning book. Everybody that I know has read it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I got one last highlight here. Oh, when he was in the concentration camp, this is what gave him his will to continue on. When he saw all his friends dying around him, giving up, and they gave up. They didn't have the will to live. They gave up. And that's a big thing on psychology. There was a analogy, or not an analogy, but there was a real life experience where some guy got trapped in a tanker in a train, and he thought it was a freezer tanker, and he thought it was on. It was just normal temperature. He thought himself into hypothermia and died.
Wow.
And it was just normal temperature in there. Nothing else was on. But writing to his friends, Frankel admitted that life had lost all pleasure after his wife's death, but he didn't turn his back on his core beliefs. Quote, I see increasingly that life is so very meaningful that in suffering and even in failure, there must still be meaning.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, dude.
Absolutely, man.
I appreciate all this wisdom.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in, man. You might have to watch this 2 or 3 times.
Please. Yeah.
But you want to end it out? I was going to read one of my poems.
Yeah. I was going to ask if there's anything you wanted to summarize or say. So yeah.
Yeah, just to wrap it up. I wrote this last week. So this is a poem. In the hush of the closing eyes, the world unfolds. Through the veil of thoughts and dreams, colors dance and swirl. From the depths of the mind's eye, magic springs. In the dance of light and shadow, energies blend and intentions transcend. With every thought and every word that we weave, reality shifts. In the tapestry of nature's grace, we find our place. With every step and every breath that we take, magic is awake. You can find more poems like that on my WordPress.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Dude, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
It has been a pleasure, man.
Seriously.
I appreciate it. And make sure you guys go to my, when this comes out, that video will already be out. Go check out that video that we made. It's really funny. You're going to figure out where he got that water on his, we'll call it water for now. You'll figure out what it is when you watch the video. Yeah. At R. Gary West on all social media platforms, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I just started my YouTube, so there's not very many subscribers, but Instagram I'm very active on, and TikTok I just started not too long ago, so there's not too much content on there. But there's different content across all platforms at R. Gary West. And make sure you check out my WordPress, which is the same handle. And I'd love to see you in my following friends list. So, and make sure when you do follow me, give me a DM. That way I know it's you.
Yeah, man. Dude,
peace, love, and happiness, y'all.
It's been a pleasure. I feel like I gained a friend today. You
sure.
Definitely gained the subscriber and a follower. I can't wait to see when you come back on how much improvement since then, dude. Yeah, thanks everybody. You know where to find me. You know where to find Gary now. We love you, and we'll see you later.
Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, peace.
Cut.